Am I on? 2-2. Can you hear me? Hello, hello. Okay. All right. Um, let's try to call our meeting to order here if everybody's ready. It is 7 o'clock, Tuesday, May 14th. We'll call our meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Jeff Goings.
Here.
Betsy Straw. Here. Austin Davies.
Here.
Dan Cheek.
Here.
Owen Costanza.
Here.
Aaron Zito.
Here.
Karina Boyd. Chris Hopkins.
Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. No phone participation tonight. Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Move to approve the agenda.
A motion by Owen and a second by Jeff.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda.
All right.
I'd like to move items 10 and 11 up to the top of unfinished business.
Items 10 and 11.
I'd second that.
Well, I'm not done yet.
All righty.
I guess this would be under unfinished business. I'd like to discuss the engagement letter to Lauterbach and Heeman. And this might be new business. I'd like to discuss the PAC letter that we were made aware of a few 20, 30 minutes ago.
All right. Let's sum that up. You want to move items 10 and 11
First, on unfinished business.
to first on unfinished business, and then you want to discuss the PAC letter.
On new business.
Okay.
And then the Lauterbach and Heeman, which I think it would fall under old business, unless I'm incorrect, I don't know.
Okay, that was the letter of agreement.
Yeah. That's it.
Lauterbach letter. So there's 4 items. We want to move to new ones and move to existing ones. And we had a second to make a motion by Jeff here. And then you were making another second? We didn't need that, I don't think. Okay. All right.
Who seconded the amendment?
Jeff did. Motion by Owen, second by Jeff. Okay. Any discussion or comments by anybody? All right. Roll call vote to amend the agenda as motioned by Owen Costanza. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? All right. The amendment passes. The agenda has been changed. So let me just make a note here. Put 10 and 11 up in the front. And then we got, nobody asked for where to put the PAC discussion or Lauterbach letter discussion.
I think Lauterbach will be old business and PSC will be new business.
Unfinished business?
Yeah. Unless I'm wrong.
Okay.
So that can go after the approve, after whatever number 8 is. So that,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
And the PAC letter can go last.
Lauterbach is 9, and then 10 is the PAC letter. And then we need to have a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
No, you already have that, so you
I
have,
don't have
like, you just need to, now you just need to vote on the, motion to approve the minutes the agenda as amended.
Okay, we got a hand up here. Yes, Austin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would move to further amend the agenda for today to move 19 to the top of new business. 19 is the motion to discuss and appoint Bruce Moore as trustee.
Okay, we got a motion to move 19 to the top. We got a second.
Second.
And a second by Betsy, motion by Austin. Any discussion on that motion? All right. Then I guess we have a roll call vote for that. Those in favor of moving Bruce Moore, item number 19, to the top, which would be, I guess, number 10, or would be number 6, I guess. Roll call vote. Those in favor? Or not roll call vote, voice vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, I got 3 ayes. Are those against?
No?
No.
I got 2 against. So, sounds to me like the motion passes to move item 19 up to the front. And then, now all we need to do is have a roll call vote to approve tonight's agenda as amended.
As amended, but you usually do the agenda by voice vote.
Okay. Those in favor of tonight's amended agenda, say aye.
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 Those against? All right, so the amended agenda tonight is approved. All right. I think we got that. Oh, you wanted that at the end? All right, so we'll move that to 20. All right. So moving on to approve past minutes. Do we get a motion to approve Board of Trustee meeting minutes from April 17th, 2024?
Move to approve minutes for April 17th, 2024.
Second. Motion by Owen, second by Dan. Any discussion on that?
Mr. President?
Yes.
I would move to amend those minutes,
All right.
specifically item 15, which is on a motion to discuss treasurer duties and compliance with state statute. The summary of that discussion says that Attorney Zito explained the state statute and Board of Trustee members discussed. What actually occurred was Attorney Zito did that and informed us that the treasurer's report was not fully in compliance with state law, and he said that he would speak with her about that. So I would like the minutes to be agended to reflect that summary.
All right. And a motion to amend number 15 as Austin has requested. Do I get a second?
Second.
Yeah, second by Betsy. Any other discussion?
So the- I also have a motion to amend 2 small things. Item 9,
Can we take
Uh,
that,
yeah.
can we
Yep.
take that first?
Yeah, we'll finish that one. And, okay, so those in favor, we don't need a roll call vote for this. Those in favor of amending the minutes of April 17, 24, item number 15, as Austin described, about the discussion about the attorney and the clerk's responsibility, or treasurer's responsibility. Those in favor, say aye.
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 Those against?
No?
I hear 2 nays and 2 ayes.
Jeff?
I'm sorry, I was reading. Right.
All right.
Yes.
So,
Yes or no on amending
No
the
on the
minutes?
amendment.
So this is Austin's motion to amend the.
Right,
minutes.
I'm sorry, yes.
okay, so we got 3 yeses. All right.
No,
The motion passes.
sorry.
And so
Can't which
we
one.
will add that to item number 15 in the minutes from April 17th, 2024
Jeff, do you
then.
understand what you voted yes on?
No, I'm sorry, I was reading this.
Okay, maybe you
Point
should
of order,
repeat.
Mr. President. Mr. Costanza does not have the floor.
Could I,
Yes.
Get a brief explanation from the attorney, please.
I believe the matter was just voted on. What are we asking for the attorney to explain? What we just voted yes on?
Correct.
The-
I'm sorry, I was reading up here on the screen.
It was.
I wasn't paying attention.
It was-
My fault.
It was to edit the minutes from April 17th, 2024, item number 15, which she has on the screen here, to include a more detailed explanation of what the responsibilities of what the treasurer is.
For compliance.
That the attorney had commented on. That there was some missing language in there.
Well, I'm a no vote. I'm sorry. If I can.
It's too late.
Okay.
You already voted. So.
That's why I just asked for some clarification, Mr. President. My apologies. I was sidetracked.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You're sorry.
Mr. Goings.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Betsy, you had a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion on number 9, where it says trustee Strawfield's pacemaker could add on, it should be a fee, not a few. Under number 14, where David Allgood, that should say public comment, was made by David Allgood, and does not need, and 2 should be TOO. So those are the 3 changes.
On number 14 and?
14. It's not clear that David Allgood is public comment.
Oh, Eva would like to remind the board, yeah, okay. So it should mention David Allgood had public comment? All right,
I
so,
would second that amendment.
okay. So just to be clear, number 14, you want to add that David Allgood had public comment as stated. And there was a couple other items you mentioned, if you could repeat for us?
And does not need too much detail, and that should be TOO. And then under number 9,
Oh, gotcha.
trustee Strawfield's pacemaker could add on a fee, is what I said.
Number 9?
Yep.
Number 9.
Number 9? You're
Number
on
9, not a
11,
few,
12?
it's a fee.
Oh, okay,
Trustee Strawford.
okay.
Yeah, a few, a fee instead of a few.
All right, so,
Well, it's just a scribbles error, sorry.
yeah, okay.
Typo.
All right, any other comment on the motion? Those in favor of amending the last minutes from April 17th as trustee Straw requested, say aye.
Aye.
Those against? All right, so the edits requested by trustee Straw are approved. Now, I think we need to have a voice vote on the motion to approve the minutes as amended. All right, I think we're getting there. All right, so now, those in favor of approving the motion, or approving the minutes as amended for April 17th, say aye.
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 Those against? All
I'm
right.
against.
All right, we got, I believe, we had 3 ayes and 1 nay. And so, the minutes are approved as amended, and I believe we can move on to public comment. Is it blue?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
David Allgood.
Whoa.
Hello?
There. It's fun.
Good evening, Dave Alden, 13152 Leonard Lane, Fox.
Go a little closer, please. A little closer.
Is that better?
You guys hear him?
I didn't hear you tapping.
I can't believe my voice doesn't carry.
Speak loud.
I'll
Speak loud.
louder.
All right.
I don't want to start the meeting off with a negative vote. I'm really hoping that we can have a very productive meeting for some of the items that are very important to our community. But I want to think out loud for a second here. Did you know that Illinois is in the top 3 states out of 50
Any more public comment?
No, sir.
All right. Moving on then, we got department reports. We got an engineering report by Chris. You want to tell us about the, I don't know, I think there's something on the agenda about the road project or whatever. I don't know if you want to save that.
I'll save my comments for later, if that's okay. If anybody has any questions on the report, happy to answer them.
Sounds good. Anybody have any questions? We'll save it for the agenda item. Public Works, David Howe's not here. Is there anything that you wanted to add, Chris, for Public Works? No? Okay. Karina, Treasurer's Report. All righty. Sounds good. Moving on.
I asked my question.
Oh, you did?
I've been
You
in
did?
contact with her today.
Okay.
And we're
Alrighty.
going to meet later in the month. So
All righty.
we've set a date and time.
Sounds good. All right. Ryan's not here for test. Wastewater report.
Just on test, we're looking for a wastewater operator, so anyone knows anybody, anyone interested, please reach out to Ion.
Any kind of experience they're looking for?
Nope.
Nope. Entry level?
Entry level, just know you're gonna get dirty.
All right. I'll pass the word. All right, moving on to unfinished business. If my notes are correct, we moved item 19 up to the front, a motion to discuss, and,
We moved that up to new business. We moved 10 and 11 up to unfinished.
oh, okay, I put it on the wrong place. So 10 and 11 were moved up to unfinished business.
Move to discuss ordinance 2024-10.
Pardon me for trying to keep track of this.
Confusing.
So I take notes.
Yes, all right. So, number 10 was what, Owen, you were just making a motion to discuss and approve ordinance 2024-10?
Yes.
All right. Is there a second?
Second?
We got a second by Austin. There's a motion, we made a motion for ordinance 2024-10, an ordinance of the Village of Poplar Grove, Illinois, granting an amendment to the special use permit 2018-03 to allow the residential uses within the hangars at Poplar Grove Airport at 11619 Illinois Route 76. So, discussion opens for that. I don't know if you have
I can give some background.
Would you like to give some background? Okay, thank you.
Yep. So this is an item, the current airport has a special use permit, an existing special use permit that authorizes the use of the airport, the museum, out there, okay? There are currently some residential units that are built within hangars. The zoning does not currently contemplate that there, so the airport had asked for an amendment to their special use permit to allow for these residential hangars to be there, to exist. Just the use of residential apartments within the hangars there. That item did go to Planning and Zoning Commission at their last meeting last month. They did recommend an approval of allowing the residences to be in the, as a part of the special use permit for the airport. The ordinance in your packet is the ordinance that would effectuate to allow that use of residential units on the airport property.
All right. And this has been in the works for about 2 years, I believe?
Probably longer.
Yeah. And so I discussed some of this with certain individuals and looked at some of the notes and the letters and everything. And I looked over the ordinance, and it seems like it's kind of what everybody was kind of negotiating for. And I don't know if there was any, if there was a presentation that you guys were going to give.
Mayor, I think that's the next item
Oh,
on
that's
the
the
agenda.
next item?
This is just about the zoning use of residences there. This has nothing to do with, at this time, of how the residences are built or to what standards they're being built to. This is just to allow the residences to exist as a land use on the
Okay.
airport property.
All right. I read through this, and, let's see, is this the,
No, that's the next one.
that's the next one?
The
Where's-
one up the screen.
Yeah,
If I need to
I
blow
was,
it bigger.
I was just wondering where my paper copy, I thought I had a paper copy of it, but I guess I don't. Oh, there's the paper copy, okay. All right.
Well, that's my copy.
Yeah, I won't mess it up or anything. All right. Did anybody else have any more comment to make on this?
Glad to see we got it here.
All right. Okay. Barring any further discussion on it, since we got more discussion coming up in the next item, roll call vote.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Dan Cheek,
Yes.
Austin Davies,
Yes.
Betsy Straw,
Yes.
Jeff Goings.
Yes.
Very good. The ordinance passes. Ordinance 2024-10. All right. So moving on to then item number 11 that was moved up to the top here of unfinished business. Do we got a motion to discuss and approve the ordinance providing modifications of building code requirements regarding residential units within hangars at Poplar Grove Airport?
Move to discuss, approve ordinance providing modifications of building code under new business.
We got a motion by Owen. Second. And a second by Dan, I think, started first. Correct. All right. And did we, so am I right that there was a presentation for this? Or-
And I can speak to it.
Okay.
And then I can see if Attorney Galuzzo on behalf of the airport has
All
any
right.
additional comments there. So now that you guys have approved the use of residential hangars being allowed out at the airport, at the previous motion there, the issue of, well, how are these hangars going to be built, any new ones, and then the existing ordinances, what code standards are they going to be, have to adhere to? Obviously, they're already built there and are, they weren't necessarily built to existing codes there, but they were done. What's done is done. So I think right now, staff has looked at these existing residential units, and then they looked at the potential for any future units, and they came up with a list of recommendations, which are in your packet. And when I say staff, I mean Chris as the engineer looking at engineering-related items, B&F as our code enforcement officer looking at building code items there. So those recommendations as to the standards are in your packet there. The airport has requested some deviations to those suggestions there, which are presented in a spreadsheet that you guys all have there that kind of indicate which items they did not necessarily agree with from staff's reports, and then any suggested alternatives that they would suggest instead. So those are before you. These items are items that it's within your purview as a board to decide, to grant deviations from building standards there. Understand that staff has, staff's job is to enforce code, not necessarily recommend deviations. It's your jobs if you guys want to make a deviation to authorize those deviations. The proposed deviations are memorialized in the ordinance that you guys have also. So again, it's up to you guys there, but Attorney Galuzzo, if you had anything additional to add?
There's a little red button on the bottom side there, and then it lights up.
Try this one.
Can you hear me better?
They're both about the
I'll try
same.
to speak louder so they can hear me. If you can't hear me, just let me know. My name's Gino Galuzzo, I represent Poplar Grove Airport. I agree with what Aaron had said. I mean, just some further clarification. As the board, you guys passed the code, obviously that applies. We think the airport's a
the ordinance has all the recommendations.
Yes, the ordinance that I proposed are the one we'd like to have passed.
I don't have any issues as proposed. I think a lot of us have been down to the hangars and have seen that firsthand. So.
But we also, we're dealing with a different type from a home to professionals. These people are, a lot of them are, professional pilots. They have a whole different concept of fire and safety as opposed to your normal average homeowner would as well. That's one of the things I see.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So one of the items that we did discuss with the airport was the concept, given the fact that while we are, it is up to the board to provide deviations there. Anytime you deviate from codes, there's the potential for someone to push back in the event something bad happens. And so the concept of having the tenants sign a waiver and release was broached with the airport. And Gino, correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is that there's not an opposition to having tenants sign a waiver agreement?
We could request them to sign waivers and yes. Again, we don't believe there's any liability out there, but if you're so comfortable, we can have a waiver, indicated that they waive, from suing the village.
Sure.
So would we need to amend that?
So that would be my request, or that would be my suggestion as the village attorney, that, it's, again, it gives you guys an additional warm fuzzy blanket that, to know that, heaven forbid, something does go wrong, that, at least we're covered from the standpoint of someone saying, well, you should have never waived these requirements.
We're going to call that a waiver or indemnification?
That's a waiver.
Okay.
Release.
I need to ask a quick question about that. Under local government tort immunity law, since we're not actively involved in building or constructing or doing anything, our liability should be extremely limited there.
So we do have tort immunity that is a shield, right? Again, as your lawyer, I'm looking to protect you guys as much as possible, right? So given the fact that we are waiving, I just want to try to foreclose as many arguments as possible there. So yes, it's great to have the tort immunity shield. It's nice to have another layer, if to get the tenants to sign a waiver as well.
Yes, Austin?
Though, it's up to you guys.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
Seeing that we do have tort immunity, I think that requiring a waiver to pass this ordinance is overkill. I think the government should stay out as much as possible of this, and so I don't think we need an amendment.
All right. I personally, I went through and had discussions over the last 2 years with several individuals about a lot of this. And I really like the way this is written. All the overreaching stuff seems to have been plucked out of here, which is very good. The logical arguments that we went through over some of these things, putting all these extra safety things in, there was no logical reason to have all that in there because of, especially with the life safety things that are being installed. It's the smoke detectors, the strobe lights, the heat detectors, and all that.
And the life, I don't want to have the life ladders in there as well, correct, as a mandatory? The life ladder for the egress?
Yeah,
wanna
I
make
saw
sure.
that. I saw that
Perfect.
in there. Yep, and the units are small. I believe they're around 800 square feet or so, the largest per level. Some of them might be a little bigger with another level. And so the escape route isn't like maneuvering yourself through a 5,000 square foot home. It's a tiny apartment. So that's all I had to say. If anybody else had any.
Don, I agree with you on the tort immunity, but everybody's agreeing. Some of the trustees feel better. I mean, waivers, it's not so much a tort, they don't hold up in court so well because it's a requirement, right? I can't live here unless I sign this waiver, so it's kind of like a terms. Yeah, it's like the terms of agreement on any app. I had to say it, and it doesn't, but, well, I mean, however, everybody agrees if it makes some of the trustees feel better. I agree we have tort immunity. However you feel.
I don't know, it's just more red tape. I don't know. What does anybody else think about more red tape?
Well, it's a signature from the leaser lesser. Aaron, let's see, I mean, our attorney's advising, he's trying to protect us. Is it a huge factor? Does everyone feel it's a necessity? Do we get a consensus? Should we do a consensus?
consensus.
And, by the way, there was a letter from the fire marshal too.
Right,
Did I see
yeah,
that one
I did
too?
see that.
Okay, gotcha.
He signed off on it. Yeah. If we don't need it, go ahead, Aaron, I'm sorry.
I'm not a, as a lawyer, I make lots of recommendations to my clients. They don't always listen to me. But I'm obligated to at least put it out there for you guys. Again, if no one makes the motion to amend to add a waiver requirement, that's your guys' call, so.
Yes, Austin?
I would move to call the question.
Has everybody had a chance to talk? Dan hasn't?
No, the only big concern I ever had was fire. That was it, and I mean, they really addressed it very well. From the very day one, that was my only concern, was the fire issues, and you guys knocked it out of the park.
All right. And Betsy, I believe you spoke.
I agree. We're in the 20th century. We have a lot of electronics that can fix a lot of those things and tell people that things are going on. And
All right.
Steve's done a very good job of educating us, so.
He has.
All right. We got a motion to call a question then. All right. Let's call a question. Roll call.
Betsy Straw,
Yes.
Dan Cheek,
Yes.
Jeff Goings,
Yes.
Austin Davies.
Yes.
Owen Costanza.
Yes.
Sounds to me like the ordinance setting building and other code requirements for an existing planned community development are passed.
Congratulations, Steve.
Congratulations. Been a long haul. All right. Now figure out where we move from here. That was 10 and 11 that we squeezed in up there.
Yep, so now you're going to 6.
So these are
Back
done.
unfinished.
And now we're moving on to 6, unfinished business. Do we have a motion to discuss and approve ordinance for water and sewer credit for pacemaker?
Move to discuss and approve ordinance for water sewer credit for pacemaker.
I got a motion by Owen
Second.
and a second by Dan. And
Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you for
all you
coming.
take care. All right. So,
Should we hold a minute?
I think Jeff did a little homework on water.
Can we wait
Yeah.
just because I won't be able to hear when I do the
Very good.
minutes?
Very good. We'll take a short time out. All right. Do you want to go close the door on him, or do you want to go be rude?
No, it's-
All right, thanks, Chris.
Chris? Hey, Chris. See if you can nudge them towards her, because I don't want to shut it so that people don't think that it's an open meeting.
Oh, there you Sorry. Thank you. Better thee than me.
Puff that chest out, Chris.
All right. We had a motion by Owen and a second by Dan to discuss and approve the ordinance for water and sewer and credit for pacemaker. I think we left off, I don't know if Jeff did a little bit of homework on it.
I did. I reached out to the company. I did get a call back. It took me about a week, but I finally did. And I sent out the email to everyone of what the gentleman Corey's response was. They said they didn't have a manual for the machine that's in pacemaker. So I also said in that letter, he said if anyone had any questions, please feel free to call him. And he'd be more than happy to answer any questions that we would have. So I don't know if anyone took the time to do that. But the option was there.
I looked at the water bill that was in the packet.
Yes.
Kind of showed what they used.
That was in the previous.
And,
Oh, sorry.
and the only thing I have to add is consistency. Is this would it be like a special use permit or something? So anybody that would come in and make this request, we could examine each thing case by case and then approve it for them individually? Yes, it
It's-
would.
So in the past, like with Oklahoma, we actually had it written on our ordinances that how we treated their meter when we did that. So that's what I was thinking we would do it here. The consensus was to do that. It would be specific to that case by case. Because the pool credit's already in the code, so.
Does this actually qualify as a pool credit, though?
When I had spoken with Public Works Director Howe, we thought we treated it as such, but would need to be treated as such as far as providing the documentation from the company of the water reading and what they use.
Right.
Similar, it's similar, but we wanted to write it in there so it's specific, so like you just said, no one could just walk in and say, hey, I want.
We have one purified machine at pacemakers in the whole village, as far as I know.
Right.
So you would just, I would imagine, word it. They are struggling. We heard Mr. Del Prado say that they're struggling. I think we should help keep the cost down because there's not the water going down the drain. It would help the people who are purchasing the water to keep the cost down. It would help him to keep the cost down and not be charged for the sewer. So I think it's a win for our community.
I just have one simple question.
I just want to
you
know
go ahead.
how much we're talking. I mean, it was discussed and then we hadn't had it, so.
I thought it was less
for
than
a year,
$1,200 a year.
so it's $1,200 a year.
I believe it was under that.
Did Karina, did you look at something? I thought you looked at their usage, or somebody did.
We have the sheet below this with the usage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there is a total in there, but I don't know what it equates to.
Wasn't there,
Yeah,
right here, here's their usage.
Right. And there's a total at the bottom of it, but what does that equate to?
As far as the GPM used by the machines?
That's the usage, water usage,
Right.
452,000 gallons for 2023, the whole year. That came through that machine, correct?
I think that's the whole.
That's the whole store?
It's a whole
That's the
store.
whole store.
Yeah.
So I think what she's asking is what goes through the purifier, which would be this.
These. So
I
if we
see.
averaged, what is it,
There's
740?
two spigots, so there's two in here, and each spigot is separate. So it's the 41, and then there's two of them.
Beginning reading and ending reading.
Right, and if you look at each one of them, they both have the same date, and they're for each spigot.
740 gallons on that one.
And then the one above it,
So that one is 229,
28.90.
28.90.
So what does that equate to dollar-wise, on average that we would be giving?
What's our
is my
sewer charge
question.
It's almost $11.
per thousand or per hun?
Per minimum.
But what is it per thousand?
It's
$10.
$10 and change.
Per thousand? or
Per
yeah,
thousand.
Per thousand.
Okay.
So it's not a whole
Round-
lot.
Round
And-
that up when that one's $30.
But I just have one simple question, though. Should we just create an ordinance for businesses that do things like this?
For futuristic,
Yeah.
potential future businesses?
Mm-hmm.
Or do we have to just word the credit bill, credit like a pool credit? We're not calling it a pool credit, but we have to just reword that ordinance. Can that ordinance be used? Can that ordinance be used, I'm sorry?
Pool credit / water credit? Yes, go ahead, Aaron.
So ultimately, if the board decides that they want to move forward with this credit concept, then it would be my suggestion that an ordinance be drafted, right, that we amend our current ordinance and do like a, if pool credit is paragraph A, then we do a paragraph B that speaks to the fact that for commercial businesses that, and I'll phrase it such that, that whether it's a, retail grocery store or something like that, whatever place that has these sort of sells this jug water there by the gallon, that they can apply for a credit on their sewer bill because, based off of how many gallons of water come in, that, that's not going down the drain there. So, I mean, that'd be the probably the cleanest way to handle it there. And then ultimately, then we would include in there, then if you guys want, I think that was one of the questions, is do we rely on their meter read from
Them.
from that machine.
That's why if we do it on a case-by-case basis and you need board approval for that, like a
Right.
special use.
Kinda, you could.
Then we can at least ask the dumb questions about what type of meter you have and
Safety.
is it
Right.
NIST certified or anything, and how much are we looking at? Here, we're looking at, this is what, $30 credit for this one receipt? So, you know. Yes, John?
So to do it, if we do it as a special use, it'd have to go through planning and zoning.
No, I don't think he's saying to do it like a special use,
Okay.
but say that you have to apply for the credit. That has to be approved by the board,
By
so
the
at least
board.
it comes
It's
back
almost- okay.
before you guys.
Each individual case, I mean,
Yeah, for these commercial type deals.
So would we do this for him quarterly, monthly? What would be easier for our staff? Would we, that's how we'd want to approach it?
Quarterly, turn in quarterly receipts,
Yeah,
would that be easiest for staff?
so every 3 months?
Karina is shaking her head, and she's the one
Karina?
that oversees that.
Would that be easier? Every 3 months? And then nothing can be issued unless you have those receipts in hand.
Okay. Scan them in, give them the credit.
That's it.
Okay.
Is that fair? I'm just trying to help our business out.
Anybody else have any commentary?
I'm good with that.
Austin?
If you're gonna write this, are you gonna write it to go forward from the date today, or from, go forward from when it?
Well, they've been paying it for how many years? 13 years? So,
I don't think we need to retro it if that's.
I'm
what
not asking to
Yeah.
retro it,
Yeah.
I'm saying, if you vote on it today, or do you have to write something, Aaron?
Oh.
And then it would be next month?
I would, it'd be next month. I would want to, now that I'm getting direction as to,
Okay.
you know, that's why I didn't actually draft an ordinance, because I didn't know which direction it was going to
Okay.
go.
All right.
There, so I would bring an ordinance back to you guys next month. You guys, assuming it's okay, you guys could vote on it, and then I would assume it would kick in at that point. 3 months from there, they could submit, you know, their first set of receipts for it.
All right,
or could we do this and have it kick in from the time they ask us for it? Would that help them a little more, or no? Is that something we can do as a board?
Oh, I wasn't paying attention.
From the time this was first brought to us,
Yeah.
going forward?
And I think that's what Betsy was talking about,
I
was saying,
think
do you
she-
want to
Just
retro
find out,
this?
would it be today?
May
Would it
1st,
be-
maybe?
Yeah, would it be May 1st because we're voting on it today, or would it be next month because it's not drafted? That's what I was asking.
Right, and my proposal was to go back to when it was initially brought to us from them.
you
April
have to,
1st,
April 1st?
1 month.
how are we gonna get, obtain all, does he think he's got all those receipts on file?
We have the receipts right here
Yeah.
for April.
That's, okay, that was
No,
everything?
I don't think,
Or-
it's January.
Well, we could ask him, we could request him. It's up to you
If he's
guys.
got them for April, I'm not going to argue too much if anybody else isn't.
So could we have someone reach out to him and ask him?
Or do you want May, because that'll be easier for,
Why don't we just get the ordinance done first and
Yeah.
figure that out later?
You wanna
Sounds
go
good.
from there? Okay.
So you'll edit the pool credit ordinance to add a line in?
I'm assuming it'll be somewhere around that section area. I'm basically going to create a commercial
Credit.
for, you know, jug water credit.
For lack of a better term. Okay. All right,
So if this can just, you know, stay on the unfinished business, then I'll have an agenda for the next meeting, or
Okay.
have an ordinance for the next meeting.
so we don't have to vote on anything this time? You
Not
got
to
your
vote
direction?
on it, yeah.
Okay, so we'll vote on it next time, when we get the ordinance. Okay, everybody else okay with that? All right. All right, moving on to item number 7 of unfinished business. We got a motion to discuss forensics audit quotes.
Move to discuss forensic audit quotes.
All righty. We got a motion by Owen, we got a second by anyone?
Second.
Second by Dan? All right. I sent out my quotes that I got back from 6 different companies with a list of information that I hope satisfied Mr. Costanza here. Did anybody have any commentary on it? Did you have anything to add or questions? Owen? Anybody else?
You kept changing the ball. Which one of those are you wanting to go with?
I just brought it up for discussion. I went through and there's pros and cons of several of them. I would like to go back and talk to them and pick their brain a little bit. I have one that's really overzealous, that was really hot to trot, and then I have others that have occasionally sent me emails to follow up, which would be professional, and then I have a couple that haven't followed up at all, and so I'd like to go back to a couple of those and see what, are they really looking for business? Are they as good? I'd have to review some of these things, so and I kind of just gave you a short synopsis of my experience with each one of the 6 and what my thoughts were on them. It's quite painstaking to read through all those long-winded quotes that they provided. Some of them are shorter than others, so.
So you don't have a direction that you wanted to go with one of these. You were talking about a phase something.
The goal would be to go with one of them that taught me about going with an initial phase, phase 1. And it's, the one company said $5,000 for a 60-day turnaround, $10,000 for a 30-day turnaround, and $15,000 for something faster than that, I guess.
Now, Betsy had mentioned that she'd like to see internal control audits out of this, which is almost, didn't call it that when I was talking about bringing the consultant in, but that's what we did, gosh, 8, 9 years ago, and Sickage actually did it, where they came in, they went through all the flow of everything, they went through into the personnel files weren't locked up, we were getting change from the pop machine. I don't have a problem doing that, and that's why I recommended that back in April, that to get a better understanding of the workflow in the office. And Sickage does that all day long. They did the last one, and there were actually quotes for that in there. And I think it was $5,000 8 or 9 years ago.
Yeah, back
What
then.
it is today, I mean, maybe it's 8 or 10,000.
And we had a book of controls this thick, and it went down to about 3-4 pages, once they went through,
But they went through all of our process.
made all of their recommendations, everything like that. It was a huge difference. Because a long time ago, it was a mess. I'm not gonna lie. It was a mess. A long time ago, it was a mess.
But I mean, back in, I
I
think
think-
it was April or May, but I had said that perhaps, maybe we'll find something that we were streamlined when they were talking about putting more help in the office.
I think-
Maybe they'll find a better way to run a process or a control through.
And didn't they come in about 12 or 14 years ago, too? I thought there was an old article.
Yeah, about that. That's the one. Yeah, 12, 14 years ago. So they did that, and then they actually took over being our treasurer for a short term.
Yep.
But I am more than in favor than that, than rather than an in-depth forensic audit, which, I mean, you've already done that.
So, but, yeah, I would like to go back and re-interview and talk to some of the contacts and ask them some questions and put forth a recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't specifically ask for an approval tonight. I was late getting back to Katie on the question in the email, so she just put it on the agenda for me. But,
So what about our regular audit? Because this plays a factor to it,
That's a,
the next one.
that's 2 more.
Yep.
2 more.
Yep. So my goal was just to bring this up as a discussion, unless you guys want to vote on it tonight, or you want to wait till I put forth some more information and a recommended selection.
How about, what are we voting on? I mean, what would you want to vote on? We don't know which one you want. or what you wanna do.
Exactly. That's why I said I meant this first, just discussion. Yes,
Is there any way that we could have a committee on this to discuss this?
that'd be a good
And
idea.
work with the groups that Don, so everyone is, or a special meeting?
I-
I guess we can't have committees because of other issues, but, I mean, is there something that we can do? Aaron, do you have a suggestion?
So the board, and I'm doing this off the top of my head, but generally speaking, yes. Municipal governments, you guys can create committees, subcommittees, right, there, and then to address an issue or look into an issue, stuff like that, you just have to post it, because it's a subgroup, you follow the Open Meetings Act, so that committee will just have to, post an agenda 48 hours in advance, someone has to keep minutes for it, and, just like your board meeting would follow those rules, but yeah, you can have committees.
Okay.
Sounds fair.
We need to create it, if that's what you guys want to do, we'd have to create it.
I could do that.
So that would have to be an agenda item on the next board meeting?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, probably do, if you guys want it to be a standing committee, go forward, or, then we'd probably I'd do an ordinance either way, but.
Okay.
All right.
Yes. Can I make a recommendation? We've done this in prior times. Why don't you pick two of the companies that you are most interested in, invite them to come and give us a pitch, an explanation, all of us at the same time, so we're all on at the same level of what you want. Your questions can get answered from these people, our questions can get answered from these people. We save a lot of back and forth, because we're limited with our normal audit. We have a time frame, and we don't want to get to where we have to pay an auditor to come in and pay a price regardless of whatever they can charge us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think the fair thing would be that you pick two companies, you set up the presentations, have them come in. You can do them both in one night, different parts of the agenda, or you can have them follow one after another. Whatever you want, or you can put one at one meeting, Tuesday or first Wednesday, one at the meeting on the second, or on the third Wednesday. I think that's gonna work the best, so we all have an understanding. I think that's, instead of getting a committee together, I think this would be one shot one week, one shot the next week, and then we could, after they left, we could put it on later in the agenda, and then we could vote on a company if everybody agrees to do that.
Yeah, that's transparent. I like that.
That's more transparent than anything.
Okay.
And this way, we're all together.
All right.
But I'm just worried about a regular audit, so.
I believe as far as what they do, I think the cost they charge for their upper level audit is what, about 12 grand or something I saw? Am I correct?
17,
17?
yes,
Okay.
that's what we spend.
All right. And so,
And I have a question. Well, I'll wait till we get to the water box.
Okay.
I'll do that.
all right. So then, all right. So then we can just skip over number 8.
Well, let's do number 8, and then I have a different recommendation.
Okay. All right. So we're all done with 7?
If you are?
Okay, all right, moving on to item number 8, we got a motion to discuss or approve forensics audit quotes.
Move to discuss, approve forensic audit quotes.
All right, a motion by Owen,
Second.
and a second by Dan, I believe. And, yes, Owen, what did you have to add?
All right, so the emails I saw from Lauterbach and the discussions I've heard is don't want to stumble over forensic audit. Why don't we vote down the forensic audits while you regroup? Why you, yeah, what? I don't know. While you regroup and narrow down what exactly you're looking for and what we want to do. And this way we can go back to Lauterbach and say, okay, we voted down the forensic audit. We're going to regroup and do an internal controls audit, or whatever it is we decide. That way we can get that audit done.
So that was my question when we got, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
I mean, and I'm not saying to vote it down to spite you, I'm saying vote it down to get the process with Lauterbach.
And then we
Going forward.
changed the Lauterbach audit and asked them to do whatever we decide we want them to do.
Well, I thought Lauterbach was gonna begin what they were doing.
Well, I don't know that, I wanted to ask about that letter, because we haven't heard back from them
Okay.
at all. And I
Gotcha.
don't know if you have.
No, I have not.
Okay, so that was for the next discussion, but I'm saying to vote these down, not to spite you, but you're not really, don't know what you want right now again,
Okay.
and we're gonna form a committee.
Or
Vote
we're
these
gonna
down
have
so
a
we can show
presentation.
Lauterbach, hey, we voted down the quotes we received. Now we're looking at what we actually wanna do.
Or what about you just table it?
I don't think, well, it's pending. We haven't heard from them. As that email said, I don't know if you saw the email said, until you figure out what you're doing with your forensic audit, don't call us.
It's on hold. We can't have both right now. But it's a good idea. I think the presentations are a good idea. It's not going away. You can put it on the agenda anytime. But I think if you invite 2 companies out of your 6, I think that's gonna work best for everybody to understand exactly what you want, how they're gonna go about doing it, and then we're gonna get an explanation to all of us.
All right,
That's how we've done it prior.
all right. Aaron?
So, my understanding, and I put a call into Lauterbach last Thursday just to try to get a hold of them in advance of this meeting, though it was really just to reaffirm what they had previously told me there, but obviously our contact there is not, she happens to be on maternity leave, so she's in and out of the office there. But they had referenced to me that they were still perfectly happy and value the relationship with the village, and they're more than happy to do our annual audit for us, pursuant to that letter that you guys approved at the last meeting there. But they won't do the audit unless, 1, we had the letter approved, and 2, they know that we're not going to be doing a forensic audit for this year because that would muck up their annual audit if there was a forensic audit going on, because that would affect what they would put into their audit there. And so that's the rub, right? And so I'll muddy up this a little bit also. There may be an option is to, because Jeff brings up the point, right? If we don't get our audit done, our regular audit done in time, the state can force an audit on us, right? And we have to pay for it, and it could be ultra expensive. There, not to mention then our grants are at potentially issue for not having the audit done in time. I'll throw this out for rejection, borrowing Chris's phrase. Vote down the audits now, right? Knowing that, so that Lauterbach can get started. Knowing then that once that audit is done, come back, or even if you want to do the forensic after, make the motion to show Lauterbach, hey, we're not going to do it while you guys are doing your audit. We'll wait till you're done with the annual audit, and then we'll have this person teed up, ready to start the forensic after the annual audit's done.
So you made a point that it was for this current year, is what they told you. Is that correct?
Well,
So
I'm sorry.
They just don't want this year that they're auditing to be in the forensic audit.
Well, they don't
Yeah,
want-
I get, well,
I think that's what
yeah,
I heard from you.
yeah, I
And
guess that's it.
so
I guess
if-
now that you mention it that way.
So I don't know that we need to, we can table that we wouldn't do one until, we can say exactly that we wouldn't do a forensic audit until our audit was done on this current year, and that doesn't preclude us from other years.
Yeah, we could certainly try to, I can ask them that to say, hey, if right, they're auditing 2023, right?
Yes.
Right, fiscal year 2023, say, hey, we're only gonna do our forensic audit up through 22.
For now, yeah. I mean, the idea is the idea is, my understanding is that we've talked about is, there's a smaller dollar amount if they look at it to see if they're, if they find issues, and then they come back and say, okay, these are control issues, these are this. And that's a smaller dollar amount, which is a smaller window, which could be prior to that, this current year.
I was also asked if the auditing company could do both. Whoever would do the forensics audit, could they do the regular audit too?
That's always been a conflict of interest.
Yeah, I don't,
No?
It's always been a conflict of interest.
Yeah, I don't quote me, and I can confirm this with, her name's Jen. I can confirm, yeah, I think they said that they couldn't or wouldn't, and or both, do both.
yeah.
They don't do forensic audit. Lauterbach said they don't do them, so. Yes, Austin?
I would make a motion to amend the motion to approve the forensic audit quotes, in that we would be moving to approve the forensic audit quotes insofar as they would not conflict with Lauterbach's annual audit.
Kind of what Betsy said.
Right.
But we don't really have anything to vote on today, so can
Right.
we move it to forward to vote on it and have it written that way?
I mean, should we change the RFP first? That's what the quotes were based on.
I don't think you
hang-
need to.
Hang on one second. Let me, Austin has a motion. Let me address that there. I think, Austin, my concern with your motion as stated is that, I guess as worded here, I think it was the ability to pick and approve a specific audit there, not that you're approving all of them, the companies there. So from that standpoint, I don't know if we're ready to pick from the discussion. Does it sound like we're ready to pick a company yet?
I would withdraw my motion then
Okay.
if I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will get off the can and get on the stick and go through and pick two and plan something. Lauterbach can probably go ahead based on the logic that we were just discussing with Betsy. And
You broke it, way to go.
Dan's got a question.
That was weird.
Wait, every time I move back to the microphone, it stops.
I guess this would be an Aaron question.
I just hit it, now it's gone.
Weird. Would it be easier than going through all this, just table indefinitely? Because anything you table indefinitely can be brought back, can't it?
Tabling indefinitely is how you kill something. If you
But I
wanna
thought you could
just
still
ta-
bring it back on an agenda at a
If you want to
future
just
date.
table it, that's fine.
But then don't you table it, you have to table it to a specific date?
No, just until you take it off the table.
But, I mean, if you table indefinitely and change the direction, which
Then you'd have a choice.
we don't have a new one.
Yeah, that's
mean,
what I'm
when we
thinking.
just
You're
table
gonna have a choice of, we're gonna pick one of these two to pick from once we've heard from them.
Right, so that would just be a new item. So just table this indefinitely, and then when Don's ready and gets his
It's a new-
choices,
It's new.
it's a new item. And he's gonna do it as a forensic audit, a motion to approve,
Specific time period.
considering time period,
Yeah.
and with presentation. for
Try to
board.
get the presentations, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they will.
definitely. Well, they should if they want to start, I mean.
And the easier route?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to table the motion to discuss and approve the forensic audit quotes.
All right, we got a motion to table, item number 8.
Second.
Wait.
Yes.
Hold on.
I'm trying to think through what, I think the concept is, I think we're trying to balance, right? We need to get Lauterbach going. They won't do anything until they know that there's not gonna be a forensic that messes with their
year.
annual audit there. So I'm trying to see what comes out of this meeting that I can hand to them or show them that, hey, nothing's gonna mess with the annual audit. So if we're saying we table this indefinitely, which is the equivalent of killing this, and then you guys can come up later with it. Okay,
Right.
I'm okay with that.
How about
We've just postponed things too before.
Don?
Right, but you gave it a date later on, so we tabled it, we rewrite it. It's gonna be different anyway, because this is too vague.
All right, and if I get this all squared away and I need to make a special meeting, I'll let everybody know. All right, yes, Jeff?
Can I, Karina, how long do the auditors usually take to complete their audit from start to finish? Oh, it's in August? September. Can we do it sooner or no? I'm just trying to think how much time we could give you to get your thing together and do that. So I'm thinking if they're gonna start, you would have, this gives you an idea how much time you have to get this put together, so you don't have to rush and make a bad decision, you have plenty of time. So if it's August, we still have a lot of time left in the end of the year to do this.
I'll start calling people right away.
But let's
let's vote on number 8.
we need to find out from Jen, and we need to find out if they're okay doing it as Betsy suggested.
All right.
Right.
What were you saying, Betsy?
So we would have Aaron call and confirm
Mhm.
that they would move forward.
Well, that's number 9, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah,
let's
I'm sorry.
talk,
I'm sorry.
let's get number 8 done.
Well, we've been, yeah,
Yeah, as of right now, don't we have a motion on the floor to table? And I-
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
We're gonna motion the table.
Is there a second to that?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
said,
There was a second by Dan.
does it have to be specifically say indefinitely, or? we just-
Yes.
We tabled it.
Table indefinitely.
You just said
All right.
table.
The table indefinitely, okay.
And we'll bring it back when I get my calls in, okay. All right, roll call or voice vote? I think voice vote.
Voice vote
Yeah, those in favor of tabling?
indefinitely.
Aye.
Aye.
Those against? All right, we are tabling our forensics audit quotes, so I get my act together. All right, moving on to item 9, was the discussion for Lauterbach audit we've kind of been talking about.
Yeah, move to discuss the Lauterbach engagement letter.
I got a motion by Owen to discuss, second by
Second.
Dan. All right, did we discuss everything already, or is there something else we need to discuss?
Yeah, the board unanimously approved you signing the letter, and you wrote an amendment on the bottom. I don't understand why you did that. I'd like to understand why you did that.
Just as a notification to have it in writing.
The board's direction was to sign the letter.
And I did, and I qualified it with a short statement of just pending on it.
Just what?
I forget what I said, something about a pending.
Pending a
forensic audit.
forensic audit.
Yep.
That's what you said.
Just for the record, yep.
That would probably be fair to them.
Doesn't change anything in the verbiage of what I signed.
Well, I mean, why not we just pass an ordinance and you decide to scrub something out and write it in? I mean, it's kind of the same thing, having a board action. You didn't ask to change it.
Yes, Dan?
I guess, Aaron, question, do you think that is going to interfere once you reach out to them, having that on there?
So, yes, I think it does affect what Lauterbach will, but in light of what you guys just voted on, the fact that, you know, to table the forensic audit indefinitely, right, that's supposed to give them, hope to get Lauterbach evidence there. I would suggest to you, Don, that in light of the last motion there, that if you could just re-sign it without the qualification, so that they, because there's not a pending forensic right now, right? Because we're trying to table it indefinitely, knowing that you're going to do homework, and we're going to bring it back completely separately and confirm with Lauterbach that, hey, if we do a scope of a forensic audit that doesn't include the 2023 year, you know, again, we're just trying to make it seem, we need to give Lauterbach comfort to know that, hey, their forensic, whenever they decide to do it, isn't going to mess with my our annual audit, you know. So having that pending audit, I could see that giving them some heartburn there.
So could I make a recommendation that Mr. Saller just sign a new sheet and leave that off?
You think I should? Anybody think I should?
I don't know
Well,
if that
since
would
we
help.
table it indefinitely, I mean, let's just clean it up.
Well,
I mean, if we're gonna clean it, let's just clean it, start all over again, because we're gonna start all over again when we bring this back. So, clear slate, no confusion on their end for them.
Right.
And like you said, heartburn, I like that expression. And that gives them the confidence to move forward.
all right, let's do it then.
Thank you.
All right,
Karina, can you reprint one? Thank you.
all right. We done with our discussion with Lauterbach?
Karina,
Yes, thank you.
All right, moving on. Let's see if my notes are correct. So moving on to new business, the first item on new business was motion to discuss and appoint Bruce Moore as trustee to fill a vacancy of Christy Richardson to Poplar Grove Village Board.
I-
So move.
And a motion by
Second.
Austin and a second by Betsy. And Mr. Moore is out here. And so if there's any discussion, motion's on the table to appoint. Should we just move, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I just, with that microphone, I can't hear crap out there. And I couldn't quite ever hear everything that you said, Dave. A good section of it, I couldn't hear you.
Too late.
I know you had some concerns, and like I said, I was struggling to hear them because you were facing that way and that microphone
You
doesn't work.
already went way over your time.
I know I went over my time. Would you like me to smile at you?
If you would. 'Cause
You
like
can
I
do it
said,
in
I
30
had a hard-
seconds or less.
In summation, I believe that might not be in the best interest of the community based on history, bad history, comments, just a whole bunch of things that culminate into what I would not consider the type of behavior that I would expect from a village trustee. We've had this conversation in the past about how people should be acting, should be held to a higher standard when you are serving, whether you're appointed or elected. There has been a lot of controversy, starting way back with the PC election, and it led into trustees elections and so on and so forth. Personally, for me, I don't believe it would be the best interest to appoint Mr. Moore. I believe that you should pursue another candidate. I don't want to see this board become totally divided and 11 months of
More animosity,
more of what we got.
animosity.
All right. I don't mean to cut you off, but
I'm done.
Does he
We're
need to
bending
fill
the
out something
rules.
for speaking,
What's that?
please?
he's extending his public comment that he made earlier.
He's refreshing because Dan wasn't able to hear it and his,
Whenever this thing's running, it kills me.
We bend a lot of rules around here, so we're okay.
This thing is terrible. You gotta come sit down in front of this thing
Is it
sometime.
worse over there?
Yeah,
The
that's the
fan's right
return,
there.
so whenever everybody's, this return kills me.
Oh, if it's running.
Yeah,
I have my back to it the whole time, too.
yeah, but you've sat in the spot, you know what that thing does. It's noisy.
All right. Just for brevity, if everybody has 30 seconds, comment?
I'd
Or
like,
more.
I'd like to hear from Mr. Moore. He had something to say.
If Mr. Moore would like to say anything, it's up to him.
I didn't say anything other than I wanted to hear you speak. I haven't heard your opinion on the village or anything. I haven't heard your opinion about being a trustee or anything during the meeting. You didn't get to speak last time when you were up for appointment. Right.
could you come up and talk? I'm having a hard time. I hear crackling.
It's popping. Yeah, there's the, yep, you're right.
I'll just remind everybody, let's stay calm.
Well, I just wanted to hear you said you want to be involved in the community, so.
I've been here now 15 years. I see all sorts of things going on in these people, in our community. You understand?
What would you like to see addressed?
Like, people's front yards, stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Cars parked in front of houses, that kind of thing.
Your block is really bad.
What's that?
Your block is really bad with people parking on both sides of the street.
That's never been addressed.
We don't know how to address it. We don't have a way to enforce it, but yeah, that's,
Maybe I can help, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Anyways, I live in the community, I'm all about the citizen. I've been here for, I worked for Johnson Controls for 38 years, did a lot of negotiation. What more do you want to hear?
what do you know about the village itself as its operations? Water treatment plants, budget,
I'm very
stuff
new
like
to this, I'm very new to this, you know what I'm saying? I've never been a trustee before, it's very interesting, there's a lot of things I'd like to get into. Like as you guys talk about pacemaker, that kind of thing, you know? I like to make sure hopefully they stay in our community, because they do very good service for us, you know? I don't see it growing very fast, that's kind of concerning. I do see a lot of, houses going up, which is great, because it is coming this way, you know? So, I want to be part of it.
You're retired, you said, right?
Yes, sir, I am.
How come you don't attend the village meetings?
What's that?
How come you don't attend the board meetings?
I'll listen in on YouTube when I can, and therefore while I get out of hand, and I'm not gonna get in front of that. Tonight was very good.
It is, so far it's good. And I
Very
don't wanna-
cordial tonight.
I don't want to be insulting to you. The last time you were here, I walked outside, you said you didn't want to be any part of this circus. You're on video, heard saying you don't want to be any part of this SHIT show here in the boardroom when you were speaking with someone. So I don't understand, only now, when Don puts you up here for appointment, you're here.
I walked in here that night, and your lawyer cried. She's crying, you know what I'm saying? This is a professional meeting. And it just went on and on and on, you know what I'm saying? All these personal passions going on. It's like, who would want to be a part of that?
It's disgusting.
In our community, I'm also a precinct chairman. I have 152 people that I privately report to, you know, that I talk to. The first thing they say is, that's a circus, or they're corrupt. Well, I can't say that they're corrupt, but I say I've seen the circus before.
We've all
And I'd like
seen.
to be a part of, to change their attitude about the way they see these things. I tell you what, I'm proud of where I'm, I'm proud of what I have done in my, you know, in my life.
Do you have a motive for being a trustee?
Motive.
Yeah. Is there any,
Let's just make this village, man, a great place to be, a place that people want to come and live. Instead of coming in and arguing, let's just work together.
that's your true motive?
That is my true motive. Why you shake your head?
I just, because you're never here. You don't know anything about our village. And we've had other applicants that were qualified with a lot of background. One of them didn't want to be a part of it, two of them were chosen. They would have been great, Mr. White and Mr. Vance. I mean, it's Don's appointment, I get it, but I don't think you're here.
They were here all those meetings?
They were for their things, yes, and they came to other ones more so than you, sir. Yes, they have.
Sure, opinion, that's fine, you got it.
Well, I'm just being honest with you.
I'm being honest with you.
I like to vote for you, but I don't think you're the right person for the position, but that's my opinion. I'm one of 6 or 5 right now.
Thank you, Mr. Goings. We've done very well tonight. Let's not
Oh, I'm not, I'm just.
drift.
This is discussions, you said, right? I'm not drifting. I kept my word with you. When I told him I'd reach out to him last night, did I not call you? Or last time, did I not call you? I called you and said there was no point.
Called me way after the fact, and then you had a lot of negative things stated about me and stuff.
Yeah.
I called you and said there's no point of talking because Don put Austin up over you, that's all. And I hung up. Okay.
I don't hold grudges,
I don't either, sir. I don't even know you.
and I don't mind.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, my.
Yes, Austin.
I would just like to state that it doesn't matter whether an appointed trustee is someone who has nothing better to do than to attend each of these meetings every month. It doesn't matter if they know about the water treatment or the sewers. We need someone with common sense, and I believe that Mr. Moore would provide a good contrast to some of the issues we have with this board.
So did Mr. Allgood.
Yeah, I think Mr. Moore has contained himself quite well considering the combative nature of the questioning that you've been doing, Mr. Goings, and I'm going to leave it right at that.
Okay, Mr.
Considering the history that we all have on this board of arguing. So I'm just asking, that we refrain from that. And we already heard one public comment, which was quite combative. We don't need to hear it anymore. And so if anybody has any constructive questions, I would encourage it. Otherwise, we might as well just move on to a vote, would be my suggestion.
Last question.
Yes,
During the election cycles, we were quite angry, but to be able to disagree and still be neighbors. We were quite angry during the election board hearings and the election cycles. You've waved at me a couple times when I drove past your house. And, exactly. But we should be able to disagree and still go have a beer. Absolutely. Yeah, I waved at you. I called you, and I didn't leave a message, but you might not know my number. But I did not leave a message.
I can even answer that too, because I'm getting 31 a day of spam mail.
Me too. And as I said, I didn't leave a message. No big deal. But I waved at you. I waved at you when I go back.
yes, Russell.
I'd move to call the question.
Sounds like we probably should. All right,
Yes. Thanks,
thank you.
Bruce.
All right, roll call.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Dan Cheek,
No.
Jeff Goings,
No.
Austin Davies,
Yes.
Betsy Straw.
Yes.
All right, we got 3 yeses and 2 nos. Looks like Mr. Moore has been approved.
There you go. Congratulations.
Congratulations, and shall we swear him in? I think she's jotting some notes down.
All right, I'm gonna leave my mom voice, ready? Raise your right hand. I, Bruce Moore, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of trustee to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Congratulations. You have a special seat right over there on the end you get to take.
You start now.
Sure.
Absolutely. Dan, switch chairs with him.
All right. That was first item of new business.
Did I get your hand?
So now we're, those are, okay, so number 9. Do we have a motion to discuss and approve check disbursements for payments scheduled to be paid prior to May 31st, 2024 in the amount of $204,000, $204,608.94 in AP checks, $17,487.41 in insurance expense checks, $25,344.53 in EFTS, and payroll with estimates included of $72,836.66 for a grand total of $320,277.54.
Move to approve check disbursements as described by Don.
All right, motion by Owen, second by Jeff. Anybody have any questions about everything on there?
Did everybody get to look at the check runs?
I looked at that, you got the credit card links.
Any questions?
And everything from Katie. I looked it over.
I had one question.
Yes.
We get the credit card links for Home Depot and the normal credit card and the Marathon. What is the Amazon? That's not considered a credit card, that's just a line of credit? And there's one other one.
It's like a business credit line.
But it's not a card, it's just a business
It's
card.
a business account.
Okay.
Yeah, I have one of those. Yeah, they don't issue a card or anything.
Yeah, they do. We got an Amazon credit card.
Business card.
Gotcha.
It's a business, it's just, and it's not a Visa card. I know Amazon's got several different, I've got those too, but for the business, it has just an Amazon, it's like a credit line, it's a revolving credit line.
Gotcha.
There's no
Okay.
physical card for the business line.
All right. Any other questions, comments? All right. Then we shall take a roll call.
Austin Davies,
Yes.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Jeff Goings,
Yes.
Dan Cheek,
Yes.
Bruce Moore,
Yes.
Betsy Straw.
Yes.
The check disbursements is approved. We already did 10 and 11. They were moved up. Moving on to item number 12, in new business. Do we have a motion to discuss and approve additional scope of work regarding a comprehensive plan? No motion?
Move to discuss additional scope of work regarding comprehensive plan.
All right. Owen motion.
Second.
Second by Dan. Was there an, what, oh, go ahead.
I can speak to this if you want.
Yeah, there wasn't anything in the packet on this, was there?
Not in the packet, I don't think I had previously sent an email
Okay.
to everybody.
All right.
So the village has been working on a comprehensive plan. We hired a consultant. They completed basically 95% of it. They're pretty much done with it. So at that point, we took it to Planning and Zoning Commission per process there. At the hearing, the Planning and Zoning Commission was very, very happy with the plan. They thought it was very, very thorough. It's pretty thick. So they did lay it over a month so that they could have more time to digest it. But one of the comments that was brought up by the chairperson of the Planning and Zoning Commission was, usually with comp plans, when you go through the process to create one, there are input sessions. And sometimes they involve, inviting members of the public, kind of like open houses, and they would talk to stakeholders, whether it be village board members, Planning and Zoning Commission members, et cetera. There was one meeting that was held, or that was conducted. Unfortunately, the chair had indicated she either missed it or wasn't made, missed the notice or whatever it was. And I think,
So they were, what they said was there were 7 people in attendance at that,
okay,
and they had worked with 3 people in the office.
right.
Who don't live in the village.
So, the chair asked if there was an opportunity to have some additional input sessions, whether it is another open house, or even if it was just the consultant calling the Planning and Zoning Commission members to get their thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, and stuff. The consultants said they were more than happy to do it, but they were pretty much at budget already, because they were, 95%, complete. They just had to put the final touches on it. So it'd be an additional fee there. And so because they were already laying it over, so they had more time to digest, I said that I could bring it back before you guys, because you guys would have to authorize, if it was up to you guys, you would have to authorize additional money to be spent for the comp plan. That's why it's worded as expanding the scope, so that you guys, if you want to, would authorize additional monies to be spent, and they could have this additional public forum or phone calls, whatever it is. I did ask the consultant for some pricing there, and in the email, they basically provided that, one additional public input meeting would be $1,260. However, they said that this number would assume that we would utilize the same presentation. If they had to, create, new presentation material, or if we wanted additional presentation material, then it would probably be like $3,000. A call around to the Planning and Zoning Commission members would be about $800. And then they said that an additional meeting with stakeholders, whether it be trustees, local business owners, planning and zoning people, that would also be at the same $1,260. They had the idea that maybe they could do all of that, the additional public input meeting with the public plus the stakeholder meetings, maybe it's all as one big shot there, and I think that would still be for the approximately 1,260. So that's what's before you guys, you know, I mean, do you guys want to authorize additional money to be spent to allow for this input meeting, or don't you? There, either way, I was gonna, whatever you guys decide tonight, that's what I'm gonna bring back to planning and zoning on next
Next one.
Wednesday.
Couldn't we invite the planning and zoning members to come here when they come to do their presentation with the board? They could put their input in with us at the board meeting, and we wouldn't have to incur the cost. So it would be one big meeting with all of us in our final one, which is already included in the cost.
That's a lot of people
I
to
don't-
control.
I don't think it's included in the cost because they gave their presentation to P and Z this last time.
But,
They're
if
not
they
planning on
do a
doing it again,
final
are they?
one- Yeah,
I
believe they
think
do a
there
final
is.
Oh,
one
they
here.
are gonna do
I
a
think there
final
was a
one if P and
board.
Z
Yes.
pushes it forward?
No, I think there was ultimately still supposed to be a presentation before the
Okay.
village board.
Okay, but it's, P and Z's gotta vote on it first.
Yes.
Yes,
So really, they should
Yeah,
have
so
their
honestly,
input
right,
if there
it-
was
it-
any
They should have their
changes.
own meeting.
I had some
Yeah.
questions about it, and I was gonna ask, they wanted to add an extra industrial area along 173, and I wasn't sure that there was water and sewer there. And so that was a question that I had asked them. Well, there's water and sewer across the way on the corner of Poplar Grove Road and 173, but it's where Galano's owned.
Yeah, there's water sewer there.
Is
On
there
the
water
south
and
side?
sewer on
In the
the-
south
on the
side?
sou- on the
Yeah,
south
yeah,
side?
there's water sewer there. Yeah,
So that was a question that I'd asked them, they didn't know.
yeah, because we had a broken fire hydrant over there, it's the only reason I know.
Yeah, so it was just a question, but there wasn't a lot of input from anyone else. I mean, did anyone here go to that meeting when they,
We had the presentation here, that was.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
have a presentation at the board level.
So
Yeah,
we're just,
I talked to him here,
right?
but I didn't go to PZC.
we're just talking maybe a couple $1,000s, right? Total?
1,200, you said?
yeah, about
So-
1260.
So why don't we just do it not to exceed 2,000 and just get it, we need to get it done. I mean, it was supposed to be done before COVID and it didn't get done, so, because of
Do
COVID.
you want to have a public hearing here and invite the PZC
I think
and
that's
us?
just too many cats to herd.
Yeah.
Why can't you just do a public to let the public come and invite P and Z to come to that too, and just make sure that they're aware of it?
Yeah, I think that was their last suggestion, was just to kind of do a joint open house, and P and Z, you're invited to the open house.
Right.
Everybody invited, yeah,
Other than three of us.
Right.
and we can show up too, yeah, yesterday.
Look, Rita, what do we got in this total? I don't remember. Just shy of 30?
And they were the lowest bid.
Yeah, I was thinking it was 40 for some odd reason. Oh, yeah, okay, then.
Our
By-
last,
by my
the
math,
last
we're
one was
10
done
grand
was
ahead
like
already
15
anyway.
years ago, so, and we were supposed to get it updated and COVID happened, so everybody was shut down, we couldn't get it done.
Well, didn't we pay to have one partially done and it never got
We did,
recorded?
we did it, no, we did an initial down payment, we had some back and forth on the wording, I think we spent $3,000 on it. We didn't do the full, we never got to do any presentations or mapping or anything, it was just,
Okay.
they were wordsmithing the current plan and updating it, and we were working with the planner for Belvedere, and then the planner got pulled from us after COVID, which is what we had to bid. But yeah, we're working with Region 1, but I mean, we were supposed to have the hearings and go forward, and we were sharing resources at the time, which saved us a lot of money, because we were only paying Gina Del Rosa a minimal cost to the city of Belvedere. Yeah, so I'd make an amendment to this, to not to exceed $2,000? I'd like to make an amendment to go ahead with this, not to exceed $2,000. That way they got some cushion to get it done. We need to get it done.
Second.
All right, you have a motion to amend the current motion to not exceed $2,000 and a second by Dan, or, yeah. that was Dan.
Correct.
And I guess, any comment on that? Then, roll call to approve the motion as amended.
You have to just, you have to vote on the amendment first.
Okay, roll call to approve the amendment for item number 12.
Betsy Straw,
Yes.
Jeff Goings,
Yes.
Bruce Moore,
Yes.
Dan Cheek,
Yes.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Austin Davies.
Yes.
All right, so we approve the not to exceed 2,000. Now we need a roll call vote to approve it as amended. All right, roll call to approve as amended.
Austin Davies,
Yes.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Trevor Goings,
Yes.
Dan Cheek,
Yes.
Bruce Moore,
Yes.
Betsy Straw.
Yes.
All right. The motion not to exceed $2,000 to finish our comprehensive plan and have a public meeting is approved. All right, moving on to item number 13. Do we have a motion to discuss and approve petting zoo for Neighbors Night?
So moved.
A motion by Owen
Second.
and a second by Jeff. And there was quite a bit of discussion at the last time over this, that we couldn't get somebody to do it. Betsy, did you talk to somebody?
No, I believe he had talked to Karina already. But Amy has talked to FFA, and FFA is willing to do it. I think my further comment on this is, we're gonna have a petting zoo, we don't have bounce houses. What are we having? What are we really doing? There isn't a committee.
Fireworks.
And fireworks. So
Food
is it,
trucks,
should it all be,
fireworks.
so that my question to Karina today was, what's our timing on all of this? Because we need to go back, whoever we get, to say what time we're doing this. It used to be in the afternoon, there were events going on, and now I think it's all kind of moving to later in the day. So we need to tell them a time if we have the FFA do it. So I don't know that we should pay to have a petting zoo when the FFA is offering to do it, if our time frame works for them.
I did get a band booked for 6, so that would probably be a bad time for a petting zoo.
Okay?
3, the baseball starts at 3, I believe.
Ends. I think, I was told today it ends at 3.
Oh, it ends at 3.
I'm not entirely sure, but that's normal,
Oh, I'm sorry.
so I'm not entirely sure.
And the Lions wasn't doing any corn or anything this
No.
time.
Yeah, I wanted to commend Amy too.
Yeah.
Karina does have a contract.
Well, we didn't sign it, though.
We didn't sign it, no, but what if something happens in the future where the FFA, or, Future Farmers couldn't do it? I'm all for having our local FFA do it.
Is the
Amy
FFA,
went out of her way, she put it on multiple
Yeah.
pages, she got good responses, she did send an email. Don, did you get that today?
I saw that email
Yeah.
earlier today, yeah.
Yeah,
is FFA different from what this, or is it the same thing?
for sure. This
FFA is different.
Do them both.
As far as, what do you, are we different, like, as far as what we're offering?
Animals, things,
I don't know what this is.
We'd have to give this to Amy. Well, this here.
There's
the
plenty.
quote-
Typically, you shouldn't, so if the FFA is gonna bring their animals, I don't think the petting zoo's gonna wanna
Oh, okay.
intermingle with that, that's a no.
Right.
Well, I didn't know
Well, they
that.
did
Park
do
is
it.
big.
Yes, Jeff.
Well, I was just gonna say, it includes up to 20 animals, 20 by 20 enclosure, 4 ponies on a carousel style wheel. That's $1,600. $800 for a zoo, $800 for a pony wheel. The event date is 6/8/2024. We wouldn't have a pony wheel. I know you named off probably 10 animals in the email that you sent. Geez, I almost feel bad now because, Karina, can you speak for a minute and tell what the guy said when you talked to him? Tell us what you told me.
They are all aware that I will give them a final notice tomorrow as to what we decide. I don't think that they're gonna be, except one way or another. It's not like,
Right, but I was gonna ask you to tell them how your email got into their spam. They didn't catch it, that's why it was missed. That's why he apologized immensely for not responding back to her.
what I found out afterwards, I guess, he doesn't do his own email.
Right.
It goes in the office. So for some reason they, just didn't respond back. And then after my very last Thursday night, we talked about it. I got the email saying I was still interested.
Dan's got a question.
Yes, Dan.
I guess it'd be a Karina question. As opposed to this contract and in the FFA, is there any sort of insurance or bond that this company has? In case when they have some kind of liability? How would that fall with the FFA, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah, future phone.
That would definitely be a question. I left along the FFA information in my email.
They're a club.
Yeah, they carry liability.
I'm gonna say they probably do.
They have to have some kind of
Yeah.
liability, they bring the animals to their schools.
All right, that was my main concern.
And they're a club.
And then,
They're a not-for-profit club.
And they're at the fair too. They have
and
to have
then,
insurance at the fair.
my other question
No,
was,
that's 4-H.
with this contract, don't those guys have like little gumball machines where the kids can get food and go feed them too?
Little cop state.
Oh, is that what it was? So, I mean, is that gonna be an option too with the,
No.
They do bring stuff when they bring them to school, so I would imagine you could. Again, it would be a question for Cindy to have that FFA.
So,
I just threw the information and contacts out there for you guys.
that's my biggest concern was insurance and maybe the snacks for 'em.
Go that route. When I started compiling names for people or things for you guys, it was because we thought at the last meeting, Trina wasn't hearing back from that piece of that,
right.
which now we know why. So I will not defend you from full route. I just
Well, the price is a lot better.
like Jeff said, we don't want to burn bridges with people in the future and that, but it's not available that weekend or whatever the case may be.
Right. It's the board decision. But I would imagine as a club, they would have some kind of a insurance liability. Is that common on for clubs like that?
Yeah, they all have association, and Lion Club has liability policy.
All right. So,
Central Committee has a liability policy.
Is this Sunshine's the same one we use every year, isn't it? No? Someone new?
This guy is up on the phone for one of the, on a regular person, but
Oh, yeah, they were booked. I remember now.
so if we're saving, what was it, $1,800?
16.
1,600 from the other one, and if this is gonna be a volunteer
correct.
deal?
Local farm kids that are interested in showcasing their animals and educating their community.
Yeah,
And if they want us to give them some money for a couple bags of feed
Yeah,
they bring
absolutely.
along, how expensive can a bag of feed be? Betsy?
$50. I
There
mean,
you
a couple
go.
bags, though, would be about $50.
I'm sure we can shell out $50 for some food if they would like us to. And then the kids can reach into the bag and feed the animals.
Who's a finger?
This,
All right.
this contract says, what's this? It says all animal cleanup will be provided by Sunshine Farm to $100 fee will apply for each additional insured needed.
Some entities ask to be actually named as an additional
Oh,
insured, and
okay,
it's an
okay.
extra charge on their insurance. That allows that entity to bypass the insured and
Okay.
file a claim directly. So some companies, I would sure ask for that. That's what that means.
The level of service. it says for truck or trailer, okay.
But say we go with the
I'm all
FFA.
for the FFA
Yeah.
doing it, to be honest with you. I think it would be great that we promote things within our community. It's not about the money, it's about supporting the FFA club.
And you
My
said it's
daughters
kids
were both
present?
in it through high school.
So do we
We would just,
take a vote to approve the FFA?
no,
It's not on,
It's
we
not
don't have
on
a
an agenda.
presentation.
It says
so-
discuss, approve petting zoo for neighbors' night.
yeah.
Yeah, we don't have a contract to approve. So
All right.
do they have a contract would be a good question for someone to follow up with.
When I can do that, or I can send you guys Cindy's information.
Sure.
She works in the school district, so I can send her email.
Have her reach out to Karina.
Yeah.
I can do that, and then, she gave some more details for you guys, so like I said, this is just
Where and when?
snowball, because I didn't know what options we had after that.
Karina, you all right with this? Because we haven't really used this vendor, correct?
Correct. My only question is, what about timeframe? When are they gonna have them here?
That's what we need to figure
When
out.
and where would be my question, yeah. When and where?
well,
Where are
this-
you gonna
No,
send
they're
them?
right here off to the side of the
Well,
building.
this says 3 to 6, so,
And there's nothing else going on.
well, hopefully, I don't know what you guys are doing, touch a truck, so hopefully maybe that could be
Yeah,
going
we
on
should
at the
be
same
doing touch a
time.
truck.
If we don't have that, then all we would have a petting zoo, and there's nothing else.
You know, I don't know what to do there.
So, I mean, is it worth doing if we don't have anything else? I mean,
I bet people would show up for the animals.
If we brought them in at 3 o'clock and baseball's over, then the kids would come over after baseball, I would imagine.
I agree.
And if we do the touch a truck and the food trucks,
so if you do touch a truck, yeah, at the same time.
do we have a DJ? Is Rick here this year or no?
I didn't hear the band. Rick
You got
sold his
that
business,
also,
Rick
yeah.
sold his business, but
Oh, he did?
I
Okay.
can check with the new owner.
So if we did it from 3 to 6, it's plenty of daylight, or baseball's done.
That's your speaker.
Yeah.
Your speaker in Pandora.
Yes, Karina?
We don't have any food vendors until 6.
They're coming at 6.
Maybe Lions can do hot dogs or something, I don't know.
Lions isn't doing anything.
Lions isn't doing anything.
Okay.
Just baseball.
Why is that? I forgot to ask Chrissy.
They didn't get able to organize because they never heard from anyone. It takes way more planning.
Well, I mean,
For sure it
is there
does.
a hot dog vendor? What about that place in Belvedere? I mean, do we reach out to them?
Zay's, hot dogs?
It all depends on what we can get at this point, depending what we want to do.
Well, the concession stand's gonna be open.
Is it? I don't know.
I don't
They
know.
have baseball.
Till 3. People come to the park and we don't have a concession stand, so I don't know that people won't not come to the park.
I don't know if the concession is gonna be open that day. It's a Saturday. I haven't seen that schedule.
Was that on our list? I don't remember.
know.
I have a question, or I have a
Yes.
statement.
Yes.
Remember, I know the special meeting is for the budget, but why don't we give this to somebody? I'd give it to the FFA leader over there, and we can quickly do this on the 29th.
Sure.
Get the questions answered.
So just
There's
ta-
not a schedule for concession on here for 6/8.
so why don't we table this to the 29th and get some more information?
We could do
So we'll probably lose this contract, just so you know,
We get that one, so.
hopefully.
Don't forget FFA.
We only advertise 2 weekends before to get people.
The event.
All right. Sounds good.
We're not gonna make a decision on 29th, it only gives you, the event is on the 8th.
So we wouldn't be
So
able-
all we basically have is the fireworks and a band from 6 to 9. The fireworks will start right after the band. So I
And some
almost see
food
no
trucks.
point. It's almost, I know. I just can't believe we can't find like a bouncy houses and stuff.
It's post-COVID, everybody's busy.
I get it.
Table this to the 29th?
Well, it's only gonna leave a week to advertise.
Yes, Austin.
Could I move that we approve using the FFA and coordinate that however works, but approve that tonight so we could have that as a possibility?
Yeah.
That doesn't require board action to approve. It's a free service that they
Yeah.
provide to us. We don't even have to put it on the agenda. All we have to do is make a phone call.
Okay.
And I say, yes, we'd like to have you come and do it. Here's
Okay.
the time.
So
We don't have to put it on a meeting or anything.
So FFA is approved, so you can go forward with that.
Okay, Karina, we're gonna go the route of the FFA club.
And,
So we don't have to take any action on this.
Well, you have a motion on the table, and you have it seconded, and this, depending on the attached contract for that particular item. So if you guys are going a different route, just vote this down.
Yes.
So take the vote, call for the vote, and then take it,
Call for the
vote
vote.
no.
Well, here, let's finish our discussion. So
all right.
we need to get Amy a time. We should make this now.
No,
We have a band from 6 to 9. The fireworks gonna start a little after 9.
I think Amy was passing the football, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can, or I can.
so just stick with the 3 to 6.
Well, just send Karina.
Be the middleman, just so there's no
Send
mis-
Karina
Okay.
the contact, and then we'll ask Karina to reach out to her, because Karina knows what's in this contract, to give them an idea if they like, all we're asking is for some, we'll pay for the feed. We can do that.
Yep. So,
just, yeah, send Karina, then Karina will have Karina reach out to her and give her the time and everything. But let's make a time for this. Do you wanna do it right after? We can ask them to come for 2 hours, to give the kids from baseball 2 hours to pet the animals, ride the no ponies, but to pet the animals. Or should we have them come a little earlier and put it closer over there?
Why don't we just
3
stick
to
with these?
5?
3 to 6. Well,
3 to 6?
that's what's on here, might as well stick with that.
All right,
Where?
Stick
I'm
right
okay.
there.
Yeah, I know, but we're not doing this.
I understand, but we can stick with the same times, is what I'm saying. As this
What time you say the food trucks come, 6? Okay.
The
Or
baseball
you wanna have them
man.
go 4 to 6?
We said the games get over at 3, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 to 6.
3 to 6
3
or
to
3 to
6.
5.
3 to 5 for 2 hours.
3 to 5 or 6, if it's busy.
Pick one, Don.
6, 3 to 6.
3 to 6 it is, Karina, from 3 to 6.
All right. We really don't have anything to approve or disapprove on
No, just vote it down.
Well, the motion motion made and seconded was to approve this contract with Sunshine Farms. If you're not gonna do that, because you're gonna go with the other route, so then you should vote this down.
here. Oh, even though it doesn't say that in here, so it doesn't say.
That's what was attached
Oh, okay.
to the packet.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, all right, so,
I have it.
all right, so then, roll call vote to disapprove.
Well, it's to approve, so
To
just vote,
approve.
yeah, you always make your motions in the
Say
positive.
no.
Gotcha. So, all right, roll call vote.
Betsy Straw,
No.
Dan Cheek,
No.
Jeff Billings.
No.
Austin Davies.
No.
Owen Costanza.
No.
Bruce Moore.
No. All right, the motion for the original contract with Sunshine Farm is not approved. All right, moving on to item number 14, that kind of dovetails right in with this here. Do we have a motion to discuss total expenditures and not to exceed amount for community events?
Move to discuss total expenditures not to exceed for community events.
A motion by Owen,
Second.
and a second by Dan. So, if this community event is gonna cost us X, do we wanna make a motion? All right, I suppose it is just to discuss. So I guess the question is do we need to have a,
Well, every event should have a budget. I do have a question, though. That email you sent about the summer guide, that wasn't an approval, right? That was a let's discuss how much to spend. Do you recall that email?
but, did you say summer guide?
Summer guide, yeah. Karina had asked about advertising the summer guide.
Oh,
you said-
yeah.
And you said we need to discuss not to exceed.
Yes,
So I,
so it'd be included, advertising and
yeah,
the expenditures for the bouncy houses if we got any or whatever.
everything should have a budget. I mean, every event should have a sub-budget.
So,
But I don't know if we put one together for that. But we approved the fireworks, so we know what that is. We
Yep.
didn't spend any money on anything else. The food vendors don't cost us anything.
No, we don't charge them either.
So I got sponsors who pay for the band. But just the advertisement, which, how much was that? I don't remember.
It's only not that much,
just a,
I mean, if they're just gonna do this for the wedding ceremony, I mean, I don't know if we're gonna try to do a mad dash and try to come up with something else. So, if we need to have a budget, I mean, just in case we run into any bounce houses or,
What have,
something.
what have they cost in the past, bouncy houses?
And, was normally we have the attendance, if we do it this way with the state, somebody here would have to attend them to make sure there's nobody that occurs.
Right.
But otherwise, I think it's only a few $100 to run
The bouncy houses.
the, each bus around in the same way the drums.
But we would have to have an adult stand next to them while they're being used.
Right.
oh, because we've had a service the last 2 times. Okay.
Right.
They'll supply somebody, but I think Karina's saying that late in this game, they had no one to supply going this late, so. Petting zoo, touch a truck, baseball, archeros, band, fireworks, I mean,
The pizza guy will be here.
it's not the old settlers' days, but it's the neighborhood block party. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know know in years past, sometimes it was way overboard. It was very overwhelming.
Who have we gotten in touch for the bouncing?
I do not know.
The what?
For what did you say?
Who do we call for bouncy houses?
Oh,
There's some local vendors that rent them out.
Which
What about-
vendors?
It's gonna be the big fancy ones, but I know we had something in the past, we had some games that was, blowout games.
Yeah, but they were off by Chicago area. Have you gone, like,
North
we
Park
did-
rental.
oh, it was North Park Rental?
No, I'm asking, maybe North,
we
North
used
Park
that.
rental.
Yeah, and then there was a
In the
guy in
past,
Capron, and
We used Leapfrog or whatever, but we had to,
There's a Brent's Bouncing and Inflatables in Rockton. That's why I was asking.
I know there's a big one by my work in Addison. I see the trucks.
well, I mean, certainly you can continue to look if that's what you want, and we can circle back. I mean, we have a meeting coming up.
yeah.
So what? Do we need to set a dollar amount to us?
No, I mean, this is just a discussion.
Yes, discussion, right.
So we'll circle back, I guess, if you do find something.
However, it depends on, if you're gonna try to get something, they may wanna want to pay the cost as opposed to doing that. We have only 2 weeks.
You could call Don for approval for that, correct? Could Don approve like a $300, $500 deposit?
Mm-hmm.
Call around.
That over a phone?
Sure.
Board approval for that.
I think he has up to a certain.
2,500, I thought.
it's 2,500.
Okay.
Anything,
10,000,
yeah.
no. I got
2,500, anything over 10,000.
12.
All right. So,
Do it.
we're not gonna exceed
No, we're not.
$2,000,
No.
so,
I think staff just wants to know what the whole with them spending a couple $100.
let's
Yeah.
go for it.
Okay,
So-
Karina,
I need approval for anything else.
call Don. Great.
If it's a couple $100, don't worry about it.
For a bounce house, so I mean, it probably, it's amount to $1,000.
Mhm.
For a bounce house?
Well, it's not just bounce house.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna need at least 2. For sure. That's what we had every year, right, 2?
So, it's-
Over
so,
here.
we've spent a couple thousand in years past,
Yes.
so that's usually the budgetary number, couple thousand. Give or take
Okay.
not including what?
The advertising, just the advertising out.
A few hundred for the advertising.
All of them, that I know of.
So this,
It was like 600.
the ordinance for purchasing policy states purchases between $2,500 and $1, and the state limit requires 3 written quotes and approval of the village treasurer and village president. Physical records regarding dates, contacts, and quotes received should be retained in the department head's file.
Right, so you
I
got
don't
the
know what the
$2,500
state
limit.
limit is. I think it's
2,500. Without quotes.
So since we're waiving
We're good.
quotes,
Yep.
we just
Take-
got a dollar value budgetary number. So, $2,500?
For
Alright.
one thing. Per thing, right?
I'm just talking about for the event,
Right.
so,
No, that's what I'm
Yep.
saying. But if something else was 500 or whatever,
okay.
different occurrences.
And that was just for discussion. All right, are we done discussing?
Yep.
Okay, moving on to item number 15. Do we have a motion to discuss and possible approval of selection of a contractor to perform tennis court restoration repairs?
So moved.
A motion by Owen,
Second.
and a second by Dan. And that quote in the packet here? What are we talking about? Yes, Chris.
So at the last meeting, the board had asked to see the proposals and had asked to see what the availability of the lead contractor was. So I have redlined, and you can see on the screen, the proposal
Chris, how dire in need of this are we for the tennis courts to be repaired this year?
Well, this was the board's direction, so you tell me.
Well, I know, that's what I'm asking.
Do we have it in our budget?
That's my next question, Karina.
Well, I mean, we don't have a budget yet, so.
We don't have a budget yet, but if we're talking about 50,000 max, we have a commitment to get 10,000 a year in the next 5 years
From
from,
Edwards,
Edwards.
correct,
So it would be a matter of us spending the money
now.
ahead of, and just kind of working in and back.
Okay, my next question would be to Aaron, can we do it that way? Is that legal? Where we fund the money now, it's like, it's almost like a loan, but we don't have nothing in writing to guarantee that back for the next 5 years.
At the end of the day, if you have $50,000 general fund money to expend, right, you can do that, right? Just appropriate it, authorize the expenditure, you spent it, now you're talking about repaying yourself back. That's kind of a back-end thing, so either way, as long as you have the money, which you're gonna have to, right, because the contractor's not gonna do it unless you get paid up
No,
front.
I
so-
understand, we have to, but like she said, we were promised the next 5 years, 10,000. I mean, we don't have nothing in writing. We do have a 10,000 guarantee for this year, right?
Well,
We already got the 10,000.
Yeah, we already got it, that's a guarantee.
Should be getting another 10,000 before this fiscal year is up.
So it's 20, so we
Funds
technically,
will come out of Fund 90, it wouldn't come out of the general fund.
sure. So as long as you guys are okay paying 50,000 out of Fund 90, right, that's really what you should look at it as. Look, I'm just gonna pay for it out of Fund 90, you guys are gonna authorize that. On the back end, if you choose to replenish Fund 90 over the course of the next 4 years, then that's what you guys can do, knowing that you might not get that 10,000. So, you gotta make that, you gotta go into that choice of, am I spending 50,000 out of Fund 90 up front? You gotta be prepared just to spend it.
What was the deal with this $500,000 in money that
Appropriation.
we reappropriated?
That would be if there's leftover money from Fund 1 once the audit is done. I think we'll probably have at least around 400,000 that's gonna go into Fund 90. I can't guarantee that as of now, but I would think that's what we're saying. But you still, by committing yourself to pay for something out of our own books, when we think we're gonna get it from somebody, it's still something that we have to give up spending $30,000 for something else.
something else.
If it doesn't materialize.
That's why my question was, how bad, Chris, are the tennis courts? Can they wait a year and we do it next year?
Anything can wait.
Oh, I know, but I'm asking you, has anyone gotten hurt, tripped, fallen?
I don't know that anybody's gotten hurt. I think, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? So what may look good to me may not look good to you. There are significant cracks out there. There are about 1,000 lineal feet of significant cracks out there. There's, a lot of other insignificant cracks that were there too. But, when I went out there, I was a little taken aback as to the condition of the courts. They are not in good condition.
So as you being our engineers, you recommend that we get it fixed so no one does get hurt? It could potentially become a safety issue, correct?
Yeah, it could. There are a couple cracks that
I don't play, I haven't been on them, I haven't looked at them, I will.
Well, they get used a lot.
Especially in summer.
I was surprised.
Yeah, they do get used.
You come down here during the day, I was
Basketball
actually
hoops.
shocked. The walking path
And
too.
the cracks are big. They're
A lot of pooling of water after it rains.
So, Chris, that court, I believe, is from '04, so the life expectancy of this should be similar.
It's 20 years old,
Yeah.
Okay, I just,
They said if we did a rehab, you can count on 10 years. So, that's kind of why we went down the whole path of just pulling everything out and starting all over again, because, if it was like an $8,000 difference or a $10,000 difference between rehabbing and redoing the court,
Right, be a
we would
no-brainer.
tell you to redo it.
right.
But, for the amount of money that we're spending to rehab versus the amount of money that we spend to do it completely in court, we're better off, I think, doing that.
Would it be more feasible, since we're doing the budget the 29th, or working on the budget the 29th, to set this as a line item just not guaranteed, and then see where we're at on the budget and that night, with that being set aside as a line item.
I think that's a good idea, and I presented it to the contractor as they're still working on the budget, and we didn't know, whether it be a June or July time that the budget would hit. So, I intentionally said, hey, if we didn't have this, if we had our budget done in June, and we could get you under contract, when can you be here? Same question in July, and the answer was the same, that 3 to 5 week period.
Rita, you like, that make you feel a little more comfortable doing it that well?
Yeah, that would be, we can discuss anything.
And is it, Chris, is it better to do them when it's not so hot, everything, or like a little more towards September, August?
I think it's better to do it.
In the heat, okay, okay,
Good dry weather conditions, it'll go faster.
okay.
And then the other thing that we would do is, we're not gonna sign a proposal that's just an email. We need to actually get a formal proposal that's got everything outlined. I didn't print off the entire email chain because it would have been, 30 pages, but, there was numerous times where I made sure that we're paying prevailing wage and, that sort of stuff. We need to get all that stuff memorialized into the
Correct.
formal proposal.
Correct.
So, we'll work on that in the next 30 days, and as soon as the budget's ready, then perhaps we can move forward in June. If not, we'll make sure that the proposal still goes over.
So for Bruce, prevailing wages, anytime we hire companies outside, we have a list of, workers, what their wages are, that we have to pay that amount. Then the company is supposed to guarantee that they pay their employees those wages, correct?
Certified payroll.
Right, there you go. Yeah, that's a little more.
So we had a budget meeting scheduled for the 29th, was it?
Yes,
Okay.
6 PM,
Yeah, all right.
6 PM the 29th, we have a meeting scheduled for budget. Here.
All right. Yes.
So, just to summarize real quick, Dan, is this item then going to be laid over until the May 29th meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Move to lay the item over to May 29th.
thank you.
All right, we got a motion to delay it till the 29th, and we have
Give me a second.
a second.
I need a second.
Second to delay it.
I'm sorry, I was looking at my calendar.
We got a second by Austin. Motion by Owen, second by Austin. Those in favor of delaying it? Say yay.
Aye.
Those against? All right, so we delayed it. We didn't need to do a roll call vote on that, I presume. All right. Moving on, item number 16, do we have a motion to discuss and approve award of construction contract 24-00000-00-GM 2024 for pavement maintenance program?
So moved.
Motion by Owen,
Second.
and a second by Dan. Chris, this is our big Beaver Road project, or?
Yes, we talked about this numerous times, so, the project went out for bid. We got 4 general contractors pick up bid documents, we got responses from 3, so that's a really good response. This hasn't happened a lot this year, where we've actually had a progressive bid result. We probably only done half a dozen proposals so far, and I was yet to see a result that's even well underneath the bid cost. So we have a really good proposal from Rock Road, and actually Schrader was just on top of our cost. IDOT requires an 8-day protest period to go live before we can actually sign contract documents and start the whole process. So the resolution is a contingent award, contingent upon that 8-day protest period going by without a protest being filed. I've been doing this for 28 years. I've never seen this, I've never seen a protest filed. So, we have a really good results. We recommend award of the contract to the lowest responsible bidder, which is Rock Road.
All right. And what was the cost of this contract? Was it in here?
It was,
274,000 was Rock Road's proposal, and then you may remember that there was a portion of this that the county was performing for us, the resurfacing
this include Bullard?
It does include Bullard.
That price, I mean.
Yes.
Bless you.
All right. Any other discussion on this?
Good job, Chris, thank you.
All right. Roll call to approve construction contract.
I'm sorry, I'm going to be nitpicky on here because there's not a contract that's actually in the packet. Can someone just make a quick amendment to award the contract to Rock Road?
Move to amend to approve the contract to Rock Road.
Second?
All right, motion to amend to add Rock Road as the contract name. Second by Jeff. Motion by Owen. Do we need to, we can voice vote that?
Yeah, just to make that amendment to.
Just say it.
All right, all in favor to amend this item, say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Okay, so this line item is amended to say Rock Road contract. Okay. Now we need a roll call vote to approve the $274,000 contract. All right, roll call vote.
Austin Davies.
Yes.
Owen Costanza.
Yes.
Jeff Goings.
Yes.
Dan Cheek.
Yes.
Bruce Moore.
Yes.
Betsy Straw.
Yes.
Rock Road contract is approved. Moving on, item number 17, do we have a motion to discuss and approve Resolution 2024-12, a resolution of the Village of Poplar Grove resolving to enter into a professional service agreement for the development of Poplar Grove Source Water Protection Plan?
Move to discuss resolution 2024-12.
We got a motion by Owen,
Second.
second by Dan, and Chris, we talked about this, didn't we?
Yes, in 2019, EPA made regulations effective for all water suppliers to do something called a source water protection plan. I'm not gonna dive real deep into it in the interest of time tonight, but essentially what this document is, it's an overview of where you get your drinking water from and how the community is going to protect its sources of drinking water. And those, that analysis includes the wells, the casings, the geological formations that we draw our water from, what sources of contamination are possible for those geological sources, and then things that we can do, to protect our drinking water so that we don't, have future unexpected expenses. And those can be passive, things like zoning codes that don't, that have well setback or wellhead protection programs. We've identified that we have a potential, contaminant coming into an aquifer, and we're gonna abandon the well, and we're gonna drill a new one. So it's a pretty wide-ranging document. It has really four components, which are the vision statement, that is essentially what the community's vision is, protect its water, the source assessment, which is where most of this work will actually end up being. And the objectives and action, finally the action plan. So the objectives are, here's how we're gonna deal with, these issues that we've identified, and here's the action plan set, and how we're gonna implement our objectives. This is, essentially something you have to update then once every 5 years. The EPA, when they made these regulations, had large users or large municipalities, essentially required them to do their stuff first. You actually have 3 different water systems. You have a north system, you have a west system, and then you have a southern system. The north system and the west system are interconnected through a water main that was constructed about 10 years ago or so along Whiting Road. Because each one of those systems services less than 2,999 people, we didn't have to do our source water protection plan until this year, but it is due at the end of July to EPA, so it's something that we need to do. Happy to answer any questions.
It's like a must-be-done thing, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, it is.
Wait, was this what you and I were talking about, where they were sampling the phosphorus coming out, the
That was
plant?
that was the wastewater plant, so that's,
That's another one that's coming up, okay.
yeah.
Don't let me digress. All right. So this resolution is just to get the ball rolling on this?
basically authorizing McMahon to go write the plan.
All right.
We'll need a couple of volunteers to do the vision statement. Big show of hands, I see.
We'll give you our vision, huh?
There you go.
All right, it's rosy. Okay. All right, barring any other questions? Any questions? All right. Roll call?
Dan Cheek,
Yes.
Austin Davies.
Yes.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Betsy Straw,
Yes.
Jeff Goings.
Yes.
Bruce Moore.
Yes.
All right, resolution 2024-12 passes. Feel free to call for any visions. All right, moving on to item number 18. I believe this is the last one. Oh, no, we got one more after this. Do we get a motion to discuss and approve an ordinance regarding expulsion of elected officials from meetings?
So move.
We got a motion by Betsy.
Second.
And we got a second by Austin. All right. Let's see. Who wants to take the lead on this one?
I can, hang on one, I'm sorry.
All right.
So this ordinance was emailed out to everybody. There, so this is my first crack at it, you know, not having a ton of direction as to how firm or not firm people wanted this to be. So again, it's just here for you guys to take a look at it and provide comments on there. So state statute does provide that a board can expel one of its members for inappropriate conduct during board meetings pursuant to rules that it sets up. So we don't have any rules set up, so that's what this was intended to do, was to set up the rules for when someone could be expelled, by what kind of vote, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, there. So, you know, it's trying to give some parameters there. So in here, it provides that, you know, the type of inappropriate behavior would be, you know, things like continuing to speak without being recognized by the chairperson, interrupted other recognized speakers, disregarding a ruling or an order from the chair, making audible side remarks during deliberation of the village board, using profanity, and I'll talk about that one a little bit more, engaging in arguments with members of the public in attendance, engaging in physical movements that are perceived to be threatening, or using belligerent, threatening, abusive terms to describe village officers, employees, contractors, members of the audience, or members of the community. It provides that, you know, that if someone conducts in this or does this sort of behavior, that there's going to be a warning, they'll be admonished there, and then if they continue to engage in that sort of behavior after being admonished, then by a vote of 2/3, which is required by state statute, of the board members then holding office, that person can be voted to be expelled. And so then, if that goes through, then they are supposed to be expelled from that meeting there. If this, as a suggestion, again, I'm not knowing how firm people wanted to go, it says that if the person refuses to leave the meeting, then the meeting can be adjourned or recessed until such time as the person decides to leave, and then we can reconvene. Or if it's adjourned, then we would just at your next meeting, you guys would gather again. So that's what this does. You know, so that was the first stab at putting something on paper so that you guys have something to discuss.
I have a question.
Yes.
You do this job have a job description? Is there a job description for a trustee? You know what I'm saying?
There's training,
Training?
I am now.
Okay, but what about rules and regulations?
More
What's
duties.
expected of you? You know,
There's minimal guidance in state statute as to what your rule or what your duties and obligations are there, but there's a little bit there. I think from a practical standpoint, like even like Austin, I think you remember, right? We did a new trustee training, you know, kind of set my office did just kind of show, yeah, hey, this is what typically happens, you're the ones that vote on expenditures, set policy, et cetera, motion, seconds, all that sort of stuff, and kind of go through what your, obligations, right? Typically, do what you think is in the best interest of the community, there. So we do, and that's based off of, IML sometimes has guidance to, on that, like they have like a new trustee, pamphlet, and stuff like that, we can, get to you there, to let you know how it goes. As far as like other rules, like for how the meetings operate, the village, operates under Robert's Rules of Order, as far as like, you have to make a motion in a second, discussion, all that sort of stuff, rules for like amending and all that sort of stuff. So that helps guide, the board on procedural things, of how a meeting is to run. Every community runs it a little bit different, and everything like that. But, one nice, neat, like job description, like you might have for an employee of the village, to say, hey, the whatever operators, this is what they do, this is what they get paid. Yeah, unfortunately, no, not really. It's kind of just cobbled together.
I was more thinking along the lines of management, you know what I'm saying? We're speaking for our village, you know what I'm saying? We're representing our people, our neighbors and stuff like that.
I think that's what this is trying to get at, there. I will say that, and this might just be a little personal opinion or my own thoughts, whatever. I guess I've always, a lot of my communities just follow, just simple rules that your parents were like, talk to people how you expect to be talked to, how you like to be talked to, or how you would talk in church, and stuff. Behave like how you would behave in church, or something like that.
I read in there, that it said something about, somebody cannot be punished for this, the same behavior.
So that's in state statute. So that's in state statute. That person cannot be expelled, for the same reason a second time, right?
So if you start,
What does that mean, right?
so if you start throwing things, and you get expelled for throwing things, you can't be expelled for throwing things at the next meeting.
Well, and that's what's so goofy about this, horribly written statute, I fully admit, right? And there's zilch case law on, or any interpretation, no annotations in the statute about, well, what does that mean? Common sense says that you've been expelled, how can you be expelled again, for it? And I think it's really about maybe more so if the person doesn't choose to leave. That's the only way I can think of. It can't mean at the next meeting. You're at a whole new meeting. If you do it again, it doesn't make logical sense to say that, you threw something at somebody that, well, you can't be expelled for a second. I don't think that was the intent of the statute either, but I have zilch guidance on on that. So it's in here because that's what the statute says. How it's to be interpreted or followed, your guess is as good as mine. I guess we can try to figure that out as a group.
Yes, Austin.
I would move, based on what Attorney Zito is saying, I would move to amend the ordinance as drafted by Attorney Zito to make one addition, and that would be Section B, capital letter B, not the last sentence, but the second to the last sentence of letter B, which says, if the expelled elected official refuses to leave the meeting, the village board may take action to recess or adjourn the meeting until the expelled elected official leaves. I'd like to add to that, and shall be considered to be trespassing. That way, if we had some crazy scenario where a trustee was expelled, refused to leave, they'd be trespassing and could be removed by force.
This is a public building.
Wait, I need a.
The taxpayer, I'm a
Wait,
taxpayer.
stop.
Bruce is a,
I need a second.
oh.
We need a second.
Okay, we got a motion to add, trespassing verbiage? Is that what is?
Yeah.
That, okay. All right, by Austin, do we have a second to add the verbiage?
I'll second that.
All right,
Really?
second by Betsy? All right. Any discussion on adding that verbiage?
Can I do have a question for
Yes.
Aaron. And my question was, how is it enforceable?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that I think kind of helps that be enforceable. And Jeff, you can sit over there and make your comments,
I
but it
can.
could go both ways.
I can.
It can go all
I
ways.
can. I've been on
But
this board for.
I have the floor.
Oh, yes, go ahead,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So, I think this, it's not for one side or the other is the way that I'm looking at this. It's for all sides. So, to me, it's invaluable to have something if someone acts out, and it could be anyone. So
Even the president.
I'm not saying it's not, Jeff, I'm saying,
Well,
but
here,
I
just say
still have the
so.
floor.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
And
Betsy, I'm
so,
sorry.
I'm saying I think you should look at it from the side that, from all sides. I don't think this is one-sided. You may have,
All right. Yes, Jeff?
Aaron, is this a violation of anyone's First Amendment? Because I would feel that it would. I'm in an open meeting. My First Amendment right is to speak in public. We're in a public facility. How could it not be? And what dangers does that take with this? And listen, also, I'd like to have Austin answer this question. What was the purpose of this? What was the motive behind this, Austin? Could you answer that for us, please?
Well, partially your behavior, and this isn't
There you
supposed to
go.
be
Personal.
a communication, a debate. A debate is when you ask the president for the floor, and then you give your statement. It's completely inappropriate how this board goes back and forth sometimes. There's not a lot of decorum and order, and this would bring, hopefully, some more decorum and order to the way this board operates.
Like you said, it's for me, just as I knew it would. Go ahead. Does it violate anyone's rights, Aaron?
So one of the items I did want, when I went through it, I said that when we get to the profanity issue, and here's where it's a little goofy too, right? Because every community, during their like public comment, everyone adopts, pretty similar rules that says that you can't cuss during public comment there. And there is some indication that might create some First Amendment issues. Now, I think it's tempered by the sense that it violates the First Amendment, I think that or it doesn't if it's disruptive to the meeting. So how do you disrupt with a word sometimes, right? And so it's a little gray there. I raise this issue just to say that there are times, especially in a public forum, where profanity, and I'm just talking about profanity, I'm not talking about the other things, okay? Like the items about like talking over one another, that doesn't violate like a First Amendment issue. Interrupting somebody, that doesn't violate a First Amendment issue there. But strictly if someone uses a cuss word during their comments, because I can give an example, right? It's one thing to say to somebody, you're an effer, right? And I direct it at somebody, as opposed to if someone who just has a potty mouth says, as they're talking, and uses a four-letter word as an adjective, like that was effing awesome. That's a great idea. We should, there are different contexts there, So I think sometimes you talk about, are you doing something, using it in a manner to try to incite, or are you just bad habit, using it as like an adjective there. So I think arguably if you're using it like an adjective, yeah, and then you say that, hey, you're kicked out, that might be violating someone's First Amendment rights. So unfortunately, we got this gray area. I recognize that it's in every community's like public comments that you can't use profanity there. I just don't know how well it's tested there. But Jeff, it does raise some issues. How serious of an issue or how likelihood of it to be an issue, I couldn't tell you right now.
Is the village susceptible to be sued?
Well, sure. I mean, someone can always sue the village if they want to. Will they prevail? That's a different story.
So we could be sued with this ordinance for violating First Amendment rights.
I think as it relates to profanity,
Right.
just the profanity part of it.
and doesn't this just pertain to trustees
And what about appointees?
or elected officials?
This pertains to elected officials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's elected officials, it's not the public.
Dan's got a question.
Yes, Dan?
To follow up on that, it's exactly it. The verbiage would be wrong in there anyways, the language, because it does say elected officials. Everybody up there is not an elected official right now. We have two that are not elected officials. So, I mean, the language is wrong just in the title alone.
Same
And we can clarify that, Dan.
Yeah.
I guess my intent was to talk about, and these are elected offices. You guys are all elected offices. You guys, right now you have some people that were appointed to fill an elective office because of vacancies or this or that there. I can clarify that if that's what you guys want.
Well, and that wasn't, there's a lot more on that. I think we went through this the last time with the clerk issues. I don't deem it, any elected official, they have the ability to hold judgment over any other elected official and pass judgment on them for that matter. I mean, if that was an option, Congress would be empty every week, you know? There would be nobody in there. They don't get along, they yell and scream, and it happens, I get it. But for us to be judge and jury all in one, that doesn't seem right to me. And where, like you said earlier, Betsy, where do you draw the line? No, you don't, you know, the line's not drawn, and there's not specifics to it. I look at it as quorum tampering. I look at it as voting tampering. You're now effectively adjusting the quorum. You're effectively adjusting the number of votes coming in for a said agenda item. And that's based on other elected officials passing judgment on other elected officials. Now you've tampered with the voting process. I mean, I don't see the difference of opening a ballot box and yanking out the votes you don't want in there. Because who's to pass the judgment and say that they were out of order or not? Yeah, maybe it was heated, maybe it wasn't. It just doesn't seem right to me to be able to adjust the number of votes that are gonna be voted on a subject and for us to be judge and jury over each other either, for that matter. Like I said, if this was a fact and this happened, Congress would be empty. They would never get anything done.
Mr. President.
Yes, Austin?
There are rules of order for all legislative bodies. Robert's rules are adopted by this body, and state law provides for the expelling of members. It's not illegal, it's not it's not tampering with any of the things that you mentioned. The Illinois General Assembly does censure and expel its members. When Darren Bailey, during the lockdowns related to COVID, wouldn't put on his muzzle with everybody else, he was expelled. He wasn't allowed to vote. This is a completely normal thing. That's why it's provided for in state law, so that we can control these meetings and have a little more order to them. I would move to amend the ordinance further to alleviate some of the concerns.
Oh, hang on. Can we take care of the first amendment first? Because you have a motion and a second on to add the trespass language.
Yes. All right. Okay, let's, roll call vote on the amendment.
Jeff,
Add the trespassing. Go ahead.
Jeff Goings,
Absolutely not.
Bruce Moore,
I'm not understanding what,
The,
let's clarify this.
Let the
I wanna-
attorney
I wanna
clarify
be
here,
very
though.
sure before I'm saying yes or
We're
no.
voting on the amendment of potential
add
trespassing
trespassing.
if they don't leave,
So what's the consequence?
yeah, trespassing on public property,
So,
If that's what we're voting on, is trespassing.
yes.
To add that language, to say that if a person is expelled and they say, I'm not leaving, all right, then that would constitute trespassing,
in a public facility.
so.
so if you had a sergeant of arms, they could remove you, or you'd have to call the police.
Is it illegal to add that, Aaron?
Probably.
I don't,
Sheriff's not gonna enforce it.
well, yeah, that's the rub, right? So, the only thing I was gonna otherwise suggest was, I've seen in other ordinances, and again, I don't think it necessarily makes it much better, is that if the person refuses to leave, I've seen situations where sometimes you would then call the sheriff and ask the person, the sheriff would come and say, hey, our rules say that we followed the rules to have the person expelled, they're refusing to leave, and then, would they escort them out, and then if they, with the thought being that if they refuse the request of an officer, then you might be conducting, disorderly conduct at that point, there. So I've seen that as an option. Oh, and I think you raise a good point. Sometimes I've seen officers be like, I'm not getting in the middle of a.
Civil
Again, I don't know if that's always gonna happen. It's up to the.
Was that
officer.
expulsion of an elected official or of a public speaker? You were just referencing that example.
That was, of a public speaker.
Not an elected
Yeah,
official.
that's when I usually see that, is like a person gets unruly for whatever reasons, and it's disrupting the meeting, and therefore they refuse to leave. Sheriff is called, and the person's asked to leave because they're disrupting the meeting, and then if they refuse to leave, then the officer can say, okay, I've asked you to leave, I've given you a direct order as a police officer, now you're disobeying my order, and so that's disorder.
Yeah, and that's usually when you're going beyond your allotted public speaking time and you're being disruptive, because there is some precedence about people using foul language during their 3 or 5 minute allotted time, and you can't kick somebody out for that.
That's the hard part about this, is that Austin's right. State statute does allow for this. There's just no guidance on it, and no case law to
Well, we
sell,
take it, well,
to tell us how to.
we take an oath, so we're not, when you talk about your First Amendment to speak as a, to a board, we take an oath and we follow Robert's rules to do that. So I don't think you're impeding you're not impeding us. We can step off here and go and speak at the podium as a taxpayer. We have that right.
I think the whole point of this is to stop the intimidation and the foul language and the storming around. That is very threatening to some people.
So Austin's doing this for you, Don? I'm asking. Is there a question?
I don't think I need to answer that question, Mr. Goings.
We're in the vote process, and he just needed some clarity.
So,
You have a motion and a second
all right,
on amendment to add trespass language.
all right, so, I guess,
Well, we ready, we were kind of half.
yeah,
midpoint.
we started the roll call on it.
Let's start at it.
Okay.
Jeff Goings.
No.
Bruce Moore.
No.
Betsy Straw.
Yes.
Austin Davies.
Yes.
Dan Cheek.
No.
Owen Costanza.
No.
That's 4 noes and 2 yeses, so the motion to add trespassing into the ordinance does not pass.
Mr. President?
Yes, you had another motion you were talking about.
I do. I would like to amend the ordinance as drafted by Attorney Zito to alleviate some of the other concerns that were raised. Section A5 talks about just using profanity. I would like to add to that, using profanity that is disruptive to the meeting. I think that should alleviate any First Amendment issues, if there
Or
are any.
directed at a person?
Pardon me?
I mean, I just asked, sorry.
Using profanity, so my motion is to amend A5 to say using profanity that is disruptive to the meeting, and then also to add, wherever pertinent, that this applies to elected officials and appointed officials, and that is my motion.
Clarify the profanity statement in there. Okay. All right, we got a motion to clarify the profanity statement in the ordinance. And do we have a second?
I'll second.
Wait.
Sorry, it's elected, and then also clearly elected and appointed, so that's his motion, two items.
Oh,
And one
okay.
motion.
Oh, okay. I guess I wasn't paying attention. Okay, so there's 2 items. Clarify the profanity issue and then add in the appointed, elected office, appointed or elected, okay. All Is there a second on that?
Betsy second.
I seconded it.
Betsy seconded. All right. Any discussion? All right, barring any discussion, let's have a roll call vote to amend those things.
Betsy Straw,
Yes.
Jeff Goings,
No.
Bruce Moore,
Yes.
Dan Cheek,
No,
Owen Costanza,
No.
Austin Davies.
Yes.
And I will vote yes. So that's 4 yeses to 3 noes. So we clarify the foul language issue and the elected official statement. All right. Any other motions or discussion? All right, then we will have a roll call on the motion as amended. Please.
Dan Cheek,
no,
Austin Davies,
Yes.
Owen Costanza,
No.
Betsy Straw,
Yes.
Jeff Goings,
No.
Bruce Moore.
All right, it's 3 to 3, and I will vote yes to approve. All right, so, all right then. Last but not least, moving on to item 20, I guess it may or may not be called. Do we have a motion to discuss a PAC letter discussion?
Move to discuss the PAC letter 80740.
Motion by Owen. No second?
Second.
We got a second by Jeff. All right, Owen, what do you have to add?
Sure, about 45 minutes before the meeting started, I was sent some screenshots about a posted letter and press release on a response for an OMA request for review in regards to the minutes that Austin had spoken of a couple meetings ago. In the context of this letter, it says that the board replied. I don't recall seeing this letter circulated to the board. When I spoke to the attorneys, they hadn't seen it either. So when the board replied, was that you, Don?
Yes. I
Normally,
was-
when the board
I was-
replies, it's the board.
I was addressed directly by the AG's office.
Are you holding any other letters that you just are holding?
I believe you got copies of all that.
And is there any others?
I don't know. What are you asking for?
Are you holding any other public access board complaints that the board is unaware of because the board did not respond to this? You respond to it with your contacts, with your narrative. And I mean, your responses aren't attached. I suppose we'll have to FOIA those to get those. But the board speaks as a board. Normally, those flow through the attorney's office. They send everything and help us compile a response.
Well, I find it kind of ironic that the AG's office never directly addressed me up until recently over certain issues.
I can't respond to that.
And so I responded to him as the village president.
And you didn't say the board.
I didn't say the board.
Yeah,
It was my response.
It says the
My-
board, the reply letter
Yeah.
says the board responded.
What letter?
This is the letter to you and to Austin that was posted on social media and given to news outlets.
Have you read the PAC, or the PAC, Attorney General's office reply?
Yeah, and
And
I'd like
ruling?
to have Aaron reply on
don't-
part of it, but
don't
it
believe-
says on March 28th, the request for review was sent. It said the board, this office asked the board to address the allegations. The board had not approved the minutes. This continues to say, having reviewed the board's response, this office, and the meeting materials, the office concludes, because the board did not dispute that this was subject to OMA. So okay, part of it, we were out with approving the minutes, but from my understanding, we're not required to post the minutes on the website because we don't have a full-time website person. Is that correct, Aaron?
I believe the OMA says that minutes from a meeting for a municipality that has a website that is maintained by the full-time staff, they have to post their minutes on the website within a certain time frame. I think 10 days or something like that. So in this case, my understanding is that we don't have a website that's maintained by the full-time staff of the village, then I don't think that the requirement of posting them on the website is applicable to us.
So had we had that opportunity to reply as a board, we could have defended that position, but you failed to give the rest of us an opportunity to respond.
They didn't ask the board, they asked me to respond.
I don't know, I haven't seen the original letter yet. But the AG's office clearly says the board. And then we're going to need to probably have a discussion about the use of village logo on things, because the press release, which is full of personal attacks on here from Trustee Davies, is got the Village of Poplar Grove logo on the top. It appears the press release was released by the board, even in this wording. So, I just wanted to point that out and asked if you had any other public access letters that we don't know about. Because if it's going to be as simply as somebody filing it and it going to you, and you choosing how the narrative is, that's just not right.
There was a whole bunch that you got that were part of yours.
Sure.
That went back
You and I were
forth.
copied both in, and we both pled our cases, so we're both waiting on that, so.
So
That's
Dan,
how
is
that
there
should
more-
work. You were aware of what I sent, I was aware what you sent. That's a disagreement, and somebody will decide
None
that.
that I know of offhand.
So not in any one case in these back and forths, did anybody here, other than Austin, was copied in on that?
The AG addressed us.
Who's us? You just said it was you. Who's us?
They addressed, Austin filed the complaint. The request from the AG's office came back to me and asked me for my opinion on it.
Well, I
How's it
do
a
hope the
press
clerk's office does take the opportunity to reach out to the Attorney General's office and let them know that she didn't get a chance to reply.
Well, then, that would be her prerogative if she would like to do that. Why they wouldn't ask her to reply is interesting. Why would they do that?
I have no idea, I don't work there, way above my pay grade.
Mhm.
That was my only question, if you're holding any other ones.
I'm not holding anything.
Okay.
I understand you don't like the way they responded to whom.
Oh, I don't really, their response is a response, that's their
Yeah.
job. We were not given the opportunity as a board to chime in on any of that. We were not advised by our legal counsel. You took it upon yourself to do
I
that.
was not
When-
told.
When have we before this?
Every time, every
We
com-
voted on the
every complaint.
responses?
Every complaint has gone through the attorney's
When-
office, the
when-
attorney's office has advised us.
When complaints
But
have
it's
come.
not the board, it's the attorney's office, because we've never voted on anything.
The attorney has talked to us individually and taken a consensus. Generally, that's how that goes. Am I incorrect, Aaron?
In the past, I find it unusual that I've never been consulted on anything, and a lot of these responses never even crossed my desk. I thought this was kind of interesting that they decided to directly address me.
I can't speak to that.
When was the last time it happened?
Yeah, we haven't had one in a while. I think, I don't even, do you remember? I think,
Where we've had a PAC review
Yeah.
that we've had to respond to, in Poplar Grove, it's probably been a while, yeah, off the top of my head there, so, just, as far as like,
This
my
is
experience
one-sided.
with procedure there, so if anyone in my communities, I'm just gonna speak to what my experience is in my communities that we represent, there, that when a request for review gets filed by whoever, or gets filed, right, then the PAC will typically then give the municipality the opportunity to respond there. So typically then, sometimes you know, sometimes the letter is addressed to the village president, sometimes it's addressed to the clerk, sometimes it's addressed to a specific FOIA, designated FOIA officer. In larger communities that have, the police department might have its own FOIA officer or whatever it is, depending on who the request was made to originally there. But when those letters typically come in and they ask for a response, those usually get looped into my office then to prepare a response. We start talking to everybody as to, okay, well, what do you guys compile, what do we do, whatever it is, and then we keep the board in the loop as to, hey, we got beef to the pack, you know, we're gonna put together a response, you know, this is what we're gonna say, blah, 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 and then we go from there. You know, and then we submit the response, and then we see what the ultimate determination is.
But it's not voted on by the board.
No, not typically, no.
So should we?
You're in the loop on it, you know, so, yeah, we let the board know that, hey, this is how we're gonna respond to it there, so. Again, that's just been past practice here, there, and then it happens to be the same as what happens in other communities, there. Certainly, if there needs to be clarity, you guys can decide how to handle that, as, you know, figure out a policy for what works for Poplar Row, you know, on when you guys get, you know.
So we
beef
don't have
to
a
the pack.
policy on it, or
Hmm?
we don't have a policy on it today?
Not a written one, no.
Okay.
Policy in general.
No, just past practice.
Okay, thank you.
So I haven't had time to read all this, Aaron. Is there something that we should have the attorneys do to figure this out? If it was acted as non-responding as for all of us because I didn't participate in it, so I'm part of the board. So should you reach out to the PAC and get all the information about it? Because I didn't respond to this, I would have taken no part in this. This is just another childish antic.
I'll reach out, if the board wants me to reach out to the PAC, and
I would like you to, just to protect myself, because I didn't say any of these comments in this. It was on the news, it's pretty wild. So yes, I like it for my protection, please, because I didn't participate in any of that. I remember Austin saying that he reached out to the PAC a while back, but they've never heard anything more about it. But then now you see it on the rhubarb and the news.
Well, it's been discussed at the meeting that we were waiting for the response.
We were waiting, but did you see the press release and everything that was put out, Betsy? Did you see the news segment on the, you know, news? 7 o'clock news or 6
I
o'clock?
didn't see any of, I mean, I've seen the
Yeah.
letter. I didn't see, I don't watch the news, sorry.
Yeah, well, it's on the news, and I don't know who authorized Austin to put a press release out like that. That would be a board decision, would it not?
Well, an individual can certainly put out a press release, it's our freedom of
About-
speech, but this gives the appearance that the board did it.
Yeah, exactly, and I did not do it. I had no
I mean, I
participation.
didn't read the entire article because I just got the link here, but it said the board has issues with the clerk
No.
on the beginning paragraph, so. That's it, I just wanted to ask if you had any more, because
So
I
could you
thought
check
there was.
into it for me, about to send you an email requesting that?
I wrote it down.
Okay, good, thank you. I didn't hear what you said.
All right, move to adjourn.
We go to the village?
Go.
Go to the village, May 27, 2024. Village Hall is closed in observance of Memorial Day. Special Board of Trustee meeting is May 29, 2024. Community event, June 8th, 2024, 6 PM. We have fireworks and hopefully a petting zoo and some other
Maybe
stuff.
before 6 PM.
Actually, yeah, it's actually 3 to whenever fireworks are done. Board of Trustee meeting, June 12th, 2024 at 7 PM, and a Board of Trustee meeting, June 19th, 2024 at 7 PM. Yes, Darren?
We have our monthly agenda setting meeting on the fourth Monday of every month to set the agenda. This is for the 2 committee chairs and
Yeah.
Don and staff. That is Memorial Day. Do we want to consider moving that agenda setting teleconference to the Friday, the 24th
Yes.
ahead of time?
Yes.
Same time, 4 o'clock, just move it to Friday
5
instead?
o'clock, I thought it was.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Which
5 o'clock
5 o'clock?
Sure.
The 24th?
on the 24th.
Send us a reminder, please, if you
Oh,
would.
Does that work for everybody?
Sure.
I think I can do that.
I just figured I'd ask, as opposed to interrupt people's Memorial Day.
Friday the 24th, I suppose.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Owen, second by, I don't know, Dan was that, or Jeff?
Austin.
Austin got in there, okay. And, those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? You're adjourned at, what does it say, 10:06. All right. All right. Oh. All righty.
Is that the resolution?
Yeah.